Is it time?
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day.
We'll see what happens. We'll know in a very short period of time, but it looks like it could be something that will be not good. Believe me, not good.
I am a dissident.
Don't move. Vote.
I'm saying no. Why you hear Palantir, 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 Palantir? It's not going to stop.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list.
Turns off.
I am not a church boy.
Turns off.
They're full-on vampires.
They hate our beef. They hate our beef. They hate our beef because our beef is beautiful and theirs is weak.
Not good. Believe me, not good.
This farm is 150 acres. Yeah, they're going to be farms. And there will be transmission lines that have to go through developments and farms. That's the very nature of a growing economy. Like, that's everybody needs to get on board. I just don't. It's a, you know what? Buy a fake tree.
Oh, dagger right in my heart. Daggin.
What? I have a fake tree.
Daggin. Oh.
No, I have a beautiful
Daggin.
real tree.
Daggin.
Coming up, no time for this.
I know, but I can't afford the tree.
Buy a fake tree, she says, to make room for those AI data centers. How about that? Your camera's the wrong camera. It's the camera with the tape over it. And your mic is, I think, reset too. Hello, dissidents. Welcome, one and all, to a Sunday evening edition of the Do Dissidents podcast. Keaton Weiss here with Russell Dobular, who's getting his tech straightened out. Sorry, we were a few minutes late tonight. We were having a bit of video downloading and uploading issues. Hope everybody's doing okay today. 1,233 strong.
All right, that's the right mic, right?
Yeah, it's the right mic, but your camera's still not in.
No, I'm going to do the show like this.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. This is, that's your new avatar. There it is. Welcome, everybody, to a Sunday evening edition of the Do Dissidents podcast. Keaton Weiss here with Russell Dobular right now.
Hello.
All right. Let's take a look at this again. Let's set this up. Fox tells Americans to buy artificial trees so Christmas tree farms can be used for data centers. Everybody needs to get on board. You will own a fake tree and be happy.
This farm is 150 acres. Yeah, they're going to be farms. And there will be transmission lines that have to go through developments and farms. That's the very nature of a growing economy. Like, that's everybody needs to get on board. I just
need to get on board.
It's a, you know what?
It's a new world.
Buy a fake tree.
Buy a fake tree. It's a new world.
What? I have a fake tree.
No, I have a beautiful real tree. Coming up, no time for this.
I know, but I can't afford the tree.
Don't you know we're
All
supposed
right,
to be...
you can't afford the tree.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But you know, this is we're the good side of the war on Christmas. We're not the evil side of the war on Christmas.
Nope.
It's the liberals' war against Christmas. We're supposed to be defending Christmas. How dare you? It's crazy. Says Pedro Gonzalez, watching the Trumpian right just become the Scrooge movement, telling Americans to get used to doing with less, living under worse conditions than previous generations, while Trump and his friends and family turn the White House into a casino. Yeah, that's right. This is almost like you'll eat bugs, right? You'll own nothing. You'll live in a 15-minute city. You know, all those things that all the Satanist pedo libs were trying to force down your throat. Now here they are. You can't even get a real Christmas tree. You have to get a fake Christmas tree. Mike Drucker says this is cliched, but just imagine the outrage if someone on the left said Americans should stop buying real Christmas trees so farms close to help the economy. Weeks of coverage, adults on TV crying that Christmas is lost. Red states would ban fake trees from government buildings. Yes, I said nothing says we're so back like killing all the Christmas trees to make room for AI data centers. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. It's almost like they're trying to lose on purpose, right? You're just trying to depress turnout on purpose. Get a fake tree. We actually have a fake tree this year for the first time in a while because we got a baby, so it's safer and easier to have a fake tree. They don't shed needles, so the baby doesn't put the needles in his mouth. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I love the fake tree, but I'm a curmudgeonly old Jew bastard. I'm not the target audience for Fox News, right? If you're fighting the war on Christmas, you're supposed to want a real tree.
Well, curmudgeonly old bastards kind of are, yeah.
Yeah. Well, not only did I get a fake tree this year, I scored an unbelievable deal on a fake tree this year because we bought the floor model, right? So Target gave you 75% off the floor model. So if you bought the floor model, we got a $320 tree for $80. It's an unbelievable deal. Not only that, but it's a floor model. So I just threw it in the back of my van, brought it up the stairs, plopped it down, done. No installation, no drilling holes in a piece of wood to, get it to stand upright. It was a pleasure. Yeah. Yeah. So I love a fake tree. I'm not anti-fake tree. I'm happy to have this tree now for the next 10 years. My wife won't let me. She'll make us get a real tree next year. It was an incredible deal. Incredible deal. But see, I wouldn't fit on Fox News. On Fox News, you're supposed to want the real tree, or else you're a, devil worshiper or something.
Yeah. Well, this is very different reaction to this from the meltdown they had when they were suggesting, gas stoves are bad for you.
That's right.
You would think the world was ending.
Right.
I'm suggesting, hey, maybe this unhealthy product shouldn't be in your home. That's not America. America's carbon monoxide poisoning is styrofoam, you bitch.
Yeah.
Crazy. They went crazy.
You can't make a steak on an electric stove. You're not a real man.
Yeah. They went insane about the idea of, if it's not good for you, maybe you don't want it in your house. They went insane. Right. Like this was the most horrible un-American thing. This, not a peep because it's on Fox News, but you can really see this is their whole grift boiled down to its essence. This is the ruling class very slowly took the spirit of Fortunate Son, right? I'm a simple working guy. And they started saying, I'm a simple working guy too. And you know who's not simple? The people who want to take your gas stove. Right. Those are the people fighting. They said, you're right. You know what? The rich guys, they earned it. Right. And believing that shows I'm a real man.
Exactly. And now the holidays are here, and you got to get that plastic tree installed, or else you're not a good American anymore. You're not a good citizen, right? You have to get on board. You have to get on board. They need that space. They need that space for AI.
Right. No, do you remember there was another Fox banger a few years back where they were talking about people being made to work on Thanksgiving? Right. And the anchor goes, capitalism.
Yeah, capitalism.
Yeah. That's what he said. He was, to indicate he's not comfortable with the idea that people should have off for Thanksgiving by definition. Like this is its essence. This is it. This is what happens when a so-called movement like this wins and they have nowhere left to go. Like all they could do is keep going further and further to the extreme representation of their ideology. They also get cocky about having to hide it. They don't feel like they have to hide it. This is what they're about. Yeah, shut up, accept the data centers, because that makes you a man or something. That makes you like independent and rugged and tough and not like those libs or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Well, we'll see what the new year brings. We got 1890 in the YouTube chat tonight. Jake is here in the booth, so shout out to Jake. Round of applause for Jake in the chat, please. 673 filing in over on Rumble. Let's all smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and that follow button on Rumble. And, of course, if you're listening on the audio podcast, smash that subscribe button or that follow button wherever you listen so that you catch the next episode. All right, we're going to take some Rumble and some Super Chats.
Already?
Yeah, why not? We got
all right, sure. They are piling up pretty quick.
Piling up.
Can't complain about that.
Well, it is my birthday tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. We should have billed this as your birthday stream.
I mean, it's
Did you put that in the title?
It's extremely Jewy to bill it as a birthday stream if it's not a birthday stream.
Well, it kind of is.
Well, my birthday is tomorrow.
Look, man, I'm gonna do everything that I can to make sure this show goes past midnight. So then it would have been legit.
Then it would have been legit
Right.
if we got to past midnight. We should have, yeah.
Yeah. Politician 62 became a YouTube member. I hope you didn't also become a politician. Also, that usually doesn't end well. The honest ones get well stoned.
Yeah.
Amadeus, I wrote a limerick about RFK on one of your videos. Was it the RFK video? Bajanet Mod 8047. You gave your opinion on the I It women.
The
who
I Had It
love.
women. Yeah. That's the blonde lady, the blonde liberal lady who's rants about, who's like pissed at Cory Booker and them.
Oh, that one. All right. Yeah. When does Due Dissidents weigh in on Hassan and Asmongold? We've definitely done Hassan segments.
Yeah, I don't really know much about Asmongold.
Yeah, I don't think we really know that dude. Yeah.
I don't watch Hassan very much either, to be honest. I mean, we've chimed in a couple times on some things.
I've never seen an episode of his show.
Yeah.
I've only seen clips when we were covering his show.
Yeah.
Bill Vogt 2025 became a YouTube member. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Big Bad Bill is Sweet William now. Wasim Garani, Richard Medhurst terrorism charges dropped.
Oh, that's crazy.
Oh, that's
amazing.
nice.
Yeah, that's great.
All right. Good news. But UK being classy passed the files to Austria.
Ridiculous. Yeah, this guy didn't do anything wrong, but you see if you could find something on him.
We want the files, and you must give us the files.
Yeah.
Queen of the Furrows. Just here, so Russell reads one of my chats out. FQF. What is that?
FQF. I'm not sure.
It is FQF. I don't know what that is. Pot thoughts. I'd be far less upset with these corrupted people if they all came out and gave us the truth. I'd still want them in prison, but I would no longer see them as such evil individuals. Merry Christmas. Thank you, Pot Thoughts. I hope you're having some nice pot dreams. All right. You got some over there?
Yeah, I got a few over here. Abiding says Edward Herman wrote the bulk of manufacturing consent, a lot more than that Schnorr Chomsky, and I'm tired of pretending he didn't. Thank you, Abiding. Long before the Tyler Robinson trial, pimp legend Corn Pop invented the game. He'd hire a lip-reading ninja to eavesdrop on what cheap tricks were offering his stable of ladies. Thank you. Vienticus Prime, everything's a scam, everything's a lie. Last night I poked a snowman right in his eye. Ah, look, a Christmas carol from Vienticus Prime. I smoked some Mickey Sticky Christmas trees and baking cookies. Thank you, Eric Rousseau. Congratulations. Have a good time tonight with those. All right, let's move on. Let's get started. Our first full story of the night. Naughty NATO Confessions.
Naughty NATO Confessions coming to you from Skinamax.
Yes.
This video came out this week. You know, it's funny how all this stuff is coming out as BlackRock is moving in. All of a sudden, all the things that all the Cassandras like ourselves have been saying for 3 some odd years, all of a sudden are coming out in the open. So this is from Trita Parsi. Joe Biden's top official for Europe, Amanda Sloat, casually admitting explosive facts that the blob not only suppressed for years, but you would have been accused of being a Putin apologist if you ever raised. Remember the energy expended to silence and discredit anyone pointing to NATO expansion as one of the causes of the war? And that if NATO membership for Ukraine was taken off the table, the war could have been avoided, stopped. At Quincy, we were attacked from every direction for pointing out this reasonable assessment. And now Sloat says in an interview that had Ukraine opted for neutrality, it may well have prevented the war and the invasion. Now, after hundreds of thousands dead and many voices in the West who pointed this out at the time, silenced or discredited, Sloat asks, would that Ukraine neutrality have been better to do before the war started or in the Istanbul talks, April 2024? It certainly would have prevented the destruction and the loss of life, you think? But remember, at the time, arguing that taking the false option of Ukraine NATO membership, since the U.S. had no plan of letting Ukraine into NATO anyway, was met with disdain. The argument was not that it wouldn't work, but rather, quote, NATO expansion has nothing to do with the war. And if you say that it does, you are on Putin's side. Remember those days? Remember those days? How many channels did we see get whacked? Not for Israel. Remember, before October 7th, a lot of channels were getting whacked for telling the truth about Ukraine.
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Those
They
who-
just gave Hinkle his channel back. But actually, that's
Did
wrong. Oh, that's actually wrong. They didn't give him his channel back. They allowed him back on YouTube, but they made him start a whole new channel from scratch, even though his old channel had like 300,000 subscribers. Yeah.
So he couldn't get his subs back. He has to start
Right.
over. He's got a high enough profile, though. He'll get it back pretty quick.
The scrappy kid, that kid.
Scrappy kid. All right. So let's see what you had to say.
Look, the NATO question has always been difficult. You know, I mean, we had some conversations even before the war started about what if Ukraine comes out and just says to Russia, fine, you know, we won't go into NATO, you know, if that stops the war, if that stops the invasion, which at that point it may well have done. I was uncomfortable with the idea of the U.S. pushing Ukraine not to do that and sort of implicitly giving Russia some sort of sphere of influence or veto power on that. You know, there is certainly a question almost 3 years on now, you know, would that have been better to do before the war started? Would that have been better to do in Istanbul talks? It certainly would have prevented the destruction and the loss of life.
Don't say.
What was Biden's
really?
position?
Well,
at that
that's
point?
one argument for it.
Yeah, to test my memory.
What was
you know,
Biden's
but like I
position?
don't think
To test your memory. How about his memory?
How about his memory? To test Biden's memory, what did he have to say about it at the time? Anything?
yeah, to test my memory. But like I don't think Biden felt like it was his place to tell Ukraine what to do then. To tell Ukraine not to pursue Ukraine or NATO.
So my question is, could we avoid such a situation, or we made a mistake somewhere?
Yeah, I guess if you want to do an alternative version of history, you know, one option would have just been for Ukraine to say in January 2022, fine, you know, we won't go into NATO, we'll stay neutral.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Ukraine could have made a deal, I guess, in March, April of 2022, around the time of the Istanbul talks. I know then there were differing views between our country's military around the counteroffensive. You know, I think during the Biden administration, that had been the big hope of Ukraine getting back territory and being able to negotiate a better deal. That didn't go as anybody wanted it to, and I think there's different arguments in the U.S. and in Ukraine about why that didn't work out.
Yeah, one of the arguments is that Boris Johnson went and told Zelensky not to take the deal.
Right.
She doesn't mention that. Caitlin Johnston here. Gosh, I mean, those of us who said this horrific war was provoked by NATO expansionism and the U.S. refusing off-ramp after off-ramp toward peace were objectively correct, and anyone who called us Putin apologists for saying this were wrong. Golly gosh, how interesting. Yes, how interesting indeed. And Arnaud Bertrand. This is as close to a smoking gun as I've ever seen on Ukraine. Amanda Sloat was senior director for Europe at the National Security Council under Biden, meaning she was the one directly running Ukraine policy from the White House. And she now admits that had Ukraine told Russia before the war or at the Istanbul talks, fine, we won't go into NATO, it may well have prevented, stopped the war. But she, and by extension the White House, was uncomfortable with the idea of implicitly giving Russia some sort of sphere of influence or veto power on that. Now, almost 3 years on, she says it certainly would have prevented the destruction and the loss of life. Think about how extraordinary that is. First of all, she's being dishonest. By definition, neutrality for Ukraine wouldn't have given Russia some sort of sphere of influence, but would have made it neutral. i.e., in between spheres of influence. Ukraine, in Russia's sphere of influence, would be Ukraine joining some sort of Warsaw Pact, which is, in fact, exactly the optionality she's saying she wanted to preserve only with NATO. She's describing her own position and projecting it onto Russia. Also, think about the cost equation. Hundreds of thousands dead, a country in ruins, and the justification is America being uncomfortable about not preserving optionality, not even an actual gain, just the theoretical possibility of one day pulling Ukraine into NATO, the banality of evil. Now, of course, all of that is true, but I think that's not the whole story. Just like when people talk about Venezuela, they mostly talk about the oil, which is true as far as it goes. I think China is the more relevant and more all-encompassing strategic purpose of the gamesmanship right now in Latin America. Very much the same way, profiteering is the motive for the war in Ukraine. That's why they wouldn't let it go. It was obvious to anybody. You can't tell me none of these people understood they could just stand down by agreeing not to allow a country they weren't going to let into NATO anyway and just make that formal. You can't tell me they didn't understand that. From the great Smedley Butler, it is possibly the oldest, easily, and most profitable, surely the most vicious. I mean, war is a racket. It is the only one international in scope. It is the only one in which the profits are reckoned in dollars and the losses in lives. A racket is best described, I believe, as something that is not what it seems to be to the majority of people. Only a small inside group knows what it is really about. Now that's an important point. And for anyone who doesn't know, Smedley Butler was a Marine veteran. He was a two-time winner of the Congressional Medal of Honor who wrote a book laying out that basically his job was to be like a soldier for the mob, that he worked for American corporate interests, knocking over governments in South America and installing American corporations, that was his job as a Marine commander. When you see this woman talk, I don't think she really understands what she does for a living. I don't. There are certain people like Victoria Nuland who get it. I don't think everybody who has these jobs get it. I think a lot of them really believe that they're doing international diplomacy. They don't understand who they really work for.
Well, especially that woman. I mean, that's just clearly just a mid-wit functionary. That's why Bertrand said
I don't think she gets it.
No, she's the banality of evil. That's exactly what she is. Yeah, she is as banal a person as you could possibly think of. I wouldn't even trust her to bring a dessert to Thanksgiving. If I invited her to Thanksgiving and she said, "Do you want me to bring anything?" I'd say, "No, that's okay. Don't worry about it.
Just
we'll
yourself.
Take care of it. Yeah, just you.
And for God's sake, don't bring a wine."
Yeah.
It is conducted for the benefit of the very few at the expense of the very many. Out of war, a few people make huge fortunes, right? So who's going to make a huge fortune this time? BlackRock. BlackRock's Larry Fink joins Trump team talks to rebuild Ukraine. Of course it's BlackRock. From power to the people. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink is now directly involved in Ukraine negotiations with Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff. They are not rebuilding Ukraine. They're carving up Ukraine to further enrich U.S. oligarchs. This is why all wars are fought, to make the rich even richer. And from Jason Bassler, remember when the U.S. liberated Baghdad, left 500,000 dead, then handed Halliburton a $39.5 billion thank you check for reconstruction? Well, it's happening again. Only now it's Fink and BlackRock cashing in. Another war, another payday. Same playbook, new logo. And you know what? It's pretty typical of our playbooks. When we're done with our puppets, we throw them over the side. Zelensky's government sabotaged oversight, allowing corruption to fester. We reported on this week. They're raiding the files and investigating Zelensky and his circle. People knew about this for years, from before we showed this. He was named as having offshore accounts in the Pandora Papers. Cy Hirsch reported on hundreds of millions of dollars disappearing into pockets. They called him crazy cuckoo pants. And here now, all of a sudden, they got permission. It's like they threw a switch. What? The New York Times. And they said in the article they had investigated this for 4 years. Really? Really? You didn't have anything you could have reported out until right now? Till right now when BlackRock is meeting about the reconstruction? You didn't have anything to say about this in all those years. You didn't have any substantiated facts you could have used to inform the public about this corrupt kleptocracy in Ukraine that had been very well reported until we decided we needed to pretend this was some kind of oasis of democracy fighting against the evil Russian hordes. Yeah, it's all coming out now. I think the fact that this woman is talking like this now, like all of a sudden there's a palpable shift where, and you see this, you want to talk about a pattern. If you've seen enough wars, this is a very familiar pattern. All the things you're not allowed to say become the conventional wisdom once they no longer need to suppress that information. And you know what? That's part of the trick too, because this is their way of telling the morons who told you were a Putin puppet all these years that you told the truth about this. This is their way of telling them, no, democracy works. See, we reported on it, and those types of people, that's what they're going to process. That's how they're going to process it. No, they told me the truth in the paper, and they're not going to think about the timing.
Yeah, I mean, you wonder what it will take for people to get a war right from the beginning, and you look at Venezuela, and perhaps we've hit that point, knock on wood.
We might have hit that point.
Right,
yes.
Because 76% of Americans are against regime change in Venezuela.
I am not seeing the drooling libs. I am not seeing them running around with the Venezuela flags like
right, yeah, exactly.
with Ukraine. Yeah.
Exactly. So who knows? Maybe we have reached a point where finally the majority of Americans will get a war right from before day one, which is a change. It really is.
Yes.
And because I learned this lesson just firsthand. Just as a teenager, when I heard them beating the war drums for Iraq, I said, this makes no sense. I was 16 when that started?
Mm-hmm.
A 16-year-old knows fucking, nothing about anything. I know this war makes no sense. And you were a traitor if you said that. You were anti-American if you said that. You were siding with the terrorism. Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, you did have the advantage of being raised by Bennett Weiss.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I guess maybe intuitively, I sense that. Maybe it was birth inheritance of some kind, some sort of instinct. But yeah, I realized this makes no sense, and you weren't really allowed to say that at the time. And within a few years, that was the norm. That was what everybody thought. It's just amazing. And when it comes to Ukraine, I mean, I've said this a million times. I knew very little about this whole situation when the war started, but I knew enough to know exactly what that woman said. I mean, it was just so obvious. It was so obvious, and it's so obvious that whether she knew it or not, people above her knew it. What, Boris Johnson didn't know that he was playing Zelensky when he said, no, don't take the list. And he didn't say, I didn't say don't take the deal. I just said, we'll have your back if you don't take the deal. Right? Yeah. He didn't know what he was doing. Of course he knew. Of course he knew. And, hopefully we're at a point now where people know enough to oppose these things when they matter, which is when they start, not when it's too late.
Ukraine, much more than Israel, was an amazing example of just completely, thoroughly propagandizing all of the liberal class into one opinion, even as recently as when Trump dressed down Zelensky in the Oval Office, man. The libs were so demoralized. It was the first time I saw them all come together with that old lib censoriousness.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Since Trump had won, they all came together around that, man. Anything I said about that, all of a sudden the libs started showing up again.
Exactly.
What do you mean? There's no proof there's Nazis in Ukraine.
Right. Yeah. No, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Incredible.
Emoji just posted in the chat, you mean Keaton's father wasn't against the Iraq War? No, he was. I think what Russell meant there is that I was able to inherit a certain anti-war instinct.
Well, I'm assuming he was speaking against it, wasn't he?
He was. But
I mean, I would be surprised if your dad was not.
No, but I
saying anything
remember
about that.
specifically just hearing. I remember specifically like watching CNN in like fall of 2002, which is when they were starting to build the narrative to justify the invasion of Iraq, which didn't happen for another 5 months at that point. It was March of 2003. But I remember hearing in October of 2002 that they were planning to go into Iraq, and I hadn't talked about it with really anybody. I hadn't talked about it with my parents or, anyone in my life at the time. And I just could tell. I said, well, that's fucked up. And that's what I just thought to myself as soon as I saw that report on TV, I said, well, 9/11 must have been an inside job. And I came to that realization myself. I didn't talk to anybody about that. That was just my instinct. So maybe I inherited that from my dad. That is possible. All right. Let's go to some Rumble rants. I Am the Owl says curmudgeonly old Jew bastard just happens to also be the name of Keaton's new upcoming music podcast. Haha. Good one. Thank you. I Am the Owl. I will be announcing that later this week. I don't have an announcement tonight, but later this week we will be making a big announcement though. Russell has an announcement coming up in a little while.
Yeah.
Old Stoner says, Rusty, I often disagree with you, but you were right about the one thing. Genocide in Gaza makes Jews everywhere unsafe. Mass shooting in Sydney today. Well, yeah. Will be, by the way, we will be covering that on the Rumble side right before the Q&A. That broke like after we had already made our topic list, and then we figure we should cover it. But since it's not on the thumbnail, we're like, you know what? Some of the imagery around there might get flagged by YouTube for like an age restriction censor. So we'll just stream it on Rumble, and then we'll put out a YouTube safe cut of it as a clip tomorrow. But yeah, we will be covering that later this evening. So the last segment of the show tonight will be on Rumble plus the Q&A.
And spoiler alert: my wife was on the beach at the time.
Yes,
she was on the beach. For anyone who's not familiar, we're the best of friends. We're still technically married, but we haven't been together for years. We're still technically married. But yeah, no, she was there. She was there. She was like running from gunfire today.
Yeah, that was
like I was talking to her
crazy.
at 6:30 in the morning about this.
Wow.
Like she had to run into somebody's house. Somebody opened up their apartment to let people in.
To shelter. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. So we will be getting into that in a while. Okay, what do we got here? Username, just wanted to highlight for everyone a completely human and non-lizard like Erika Kirk comes off in her interviews. Definitely human for sure. 100% non-lizard. Thanks, username. Vienticus Prime, I've seen a few Asmongold videos. It's interesting to see how he'll have some disconnects between principles outside his jokes. He seems to have a small bit of talking point fueled ideology. Interesting. Yeah, we featured one brief clip of his one time. I forget what it was. I really don't remember anything about him at all. All right. We got some super chats over there.
Sure do. Hong Yan. So much for saving Christmas, Thanksgiving. Yeah. They're the champions of Merry Christmas over Happy Holidays. As long as you don't get in the way of their data centers. In Terabang 5000, they hate our trees because our trees are beautiful. and theirs are weak. Good one.
I like that.
Darius King. They're saying it's a possibility the Trump administration is behind Andrew Tate's release from Romania. They're trying to save another human trafficker from justice. Did he get released? He got released.
I think he did.
See that? Yeah. Queen of the Furrows, Furrow Queen, Fire Dancer. Am I nothing to you? Are you not entertained? Jason Lee, thoughts on the Bondi Beach shooting? Yeah, we're just getting into that a little bit. We'll do a full segment on the Rumble side because there's a lot of moving parts there that might not go over so well on this side of the wall.
I mean, I think it'll go over fine. There's just some images that are probably a little too violent that might get like an age restriction or something. Yeah, that's the concern there. All right, let's move right on along here. All right, folks, it's the holidays, and so what do you do around the holiday time? You reminisce, right? Maybe you look through old photo albums, and so the Democrats on the Oversight Committee were very nice. They released a nice photo album for us to look through right before Christmas. Just happens to be the Jeffrey Epstein Files photo album. So if you're listening to this segment on a podcast form, if you're on Spotify, you could turn that video feature on so you can watch this, because you're going to want to watch this segment, folks. The audio will not do it justice. But before we get into the photo album, let's just take a step back in time to July when Steve Bannon says Democrats know Epstein's black book is a ticking time bomb. That's why they've switched the focus to affordability.
More obsessed now than most of the Democratic Party. I think the Democratic Party is looking at analysis and looking at polling and realize the bulk of the people on the Democratic side, and I think what they feel are some independent voters, this is not their deal. They haven't really followed it, and the reason is there's so many Democrats, huge Democratic donors, caught up in this Epstein thing. You know,
I mean, if by Democratic donors you mean Noam Chomsky and Woody Allen, then I guess you got a point.
Yeah.
Guess you got a point. However, Steve Bannon also caught up in this thing. He's in a lot of these photos, including this one, which is especially bizarre because there's Steve Bannon sitting across the desk with Jeffrey Epstein with a photo of a passed out woman on a couch on Epstein's desk.
There's nothing to see here. Sun Yi used to call him Uncle Steve, and on Christmas he would dress as Santa and she would sit on his lap. Completely innocent.
Completely innocent. Yes, the Oversight Dems tweet out breaking. Oversight Dems received 95,000 new photos from Jeffrey Epstein's estate. These disturbing images raise even more questions about Epstein and his relationships with some of the most powerful men in the world. Time to end this White House cover-up. Release the files. So there's one of Jeffrey himself. Lovely, lovely photo. Jeffrey Epstein taking a bath, leering at the camera there. Here's some. Yeah, I knew I left that somewhere. Okay. thanks for the tip. Who do I call to get this back?
It's much better than the sippy straw I've been resorting to.
But I'm wondering where I left my filching tube. There's the aforementioned photo of Steve Bannon.
They don't call it a headshot for nothing.
He calls Ro Khanna. Where'd you get that photo? Why do you ask, Bobby? No reason. Just where'd you get it? Was there a phone number on the back? I need my stuff back. Oh boy. There's a picture of Steve Bannon, which we just showed you there with the picture of the passed out woman on the desk. Yeah, Steve Bannon, Jeffrey Epstein, a framed photo of a young girl passed out.
Wow.
Oof.
Wow.
Ouch. Ooh.
Wow. And he fucking has that on his desk. What a sick bastard.
Just has it on the desk there. Yeah, pretty crazy
Some
stuff.
people call it evidence. He calls it home decor.
That's right. Hey, speaking of Woody Allen, here he is on the set of Woody Allen's movie, just hanging out. Woody Allen is in a lot of these. Like, they must have been good friends.
That is such a shock. Such a shock.
Woody Allen should make a movie about Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein as a Woody Allen movie. He would be a great lead character in a Woody Allen movie.
All of his lead characters are like proxies for him.
Yeah.
She told me she was 18. It's the French are much more advanced than we are about these things.
You can make one of his very, cutesy rom-coms, about a guy on an island living with a 15-year-old lover.
Erotic manner.
Yeah. He's got a 15-year-old girlfriend nobody asks any questions about, and then a doctor from New York comes and takes an interest in the 50. It's a love triangle, including, the exotic doctor, Jeffrey Epstein, and their 15-year-old girlfriend. And nobody thinks there's anything wrong with it. That's just the plot of the movie. I could see that as a Woody Allen movie.
And you get Muriel Hemingway to play Ghislaine Maxwell for the member berries.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. So there's Woody Allen again with that looks like Larry Summer there on a plane. Looks like a private plane. I don't know if it's the private plane, but it's a private plane. There's Richard Branson. Look at that. Woody again. Another Woody Allen. Wow, Woody Allen really hung out with him a lot. A lot of Woody Allen. Oh, there's a face we all know. There's Donald Trump. Look at that. Another appearance by Donald Trump there with a young guy at the time. Look at that hair. Look at that beautiful hair, brown hair.
He's not orange.
No, not orange there. Not orange there, regular colored hair. Now, if you look closely at the picture to the left there above the piece of furniture, that looks like Bill Gates. That looks like Bill Gates. And here's Bill Gates again. And here's Bill Gates again, looking like he's getting ready to get on that plane next to the pilot. Interesting. Wow, this is an interesting photo album. Oh, there's sloppy Steve Bannon once again, a mirror selfie with Jeffrey Epstein. Ah, there's a face we all remember, Alan Dershowitz there with Jeffrey Epstein in the Harvard hoodie. Look at these two. Wow, what a match that is. Woody Allen and Steve Bannon chatting it up at looks like the Epstein house. That could be in New York. But look at that. Look at that. Those two are really, really hitting it off. Oh, there's a face we all know once again. Now, the Democrats did this thing where they black out the faces of apparently all women in these photos, whether they are of age or not, which we'll get to in a moment. Oh, there's a face we all know. There's Bill Clinton, Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell. Once again, it's a signed photograph. Look at that. Oh, and there's, of course, Ehud Barak of the great state of Israel. Yeah, we knew there had to be one of them in there. I'm surprised that made the cut. I'm sorry. I guess Chuck Schumer did not curate this list. I guess they didn't run this by Chucky Boy.
Yeah, guess who the New York Times just invited to their very prestigious book deal event?
Oh, Ehud Barak?
Ehud Barak was a panelist at that event.
Oh, wow.
They're not put off by this kind of thing.
All right, so the Democrats released this photo. This was the topic of some controversy because by blacking out the faces of the women, the Democrats were kind of insinuating that these were perhaps underage women, which Scott Jennings was very quick to point out was not the case. Donald Trump owned the Miss Universe organization for 20 years. Here he is posing in a photo with contestants who are adults. According to this meme, Democrats released the same photo in 2025, blacked out their faces to insinuate they were minor females. So here is Scott Jennings doing his job to clean this up.
Was the concern that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene basically alluded to when she was asked about the president fighting her on signing that Epstein discharge petition. She told him she was worried people would get hurt. Obviously, one thing that Republicans have argued is that people could be unfairly smeared by being included in this. I mean, you saw Richard Branson, a lot of people who are included in these photos today that have not been accused of wrongdoing. That is incredibly important to note, even for a second time. But Scott, I wonder what you make of the argument that it's being cherry picked. I mean, the DOJ could release this theoretically tomorrow.
Yeah, look, here's what I think. Robert Garcia and the Democrats on oversight don't care about justice. They don't care about victims. They don't care about anything except one thing. They care about making the American public think that Donald Trump had something to do with this. What Van said is incredibly accurate. They should be patient. If they cared about victims and they cared about a narrative of justice and they cared about that part of it, they would be patient and they would be measured. But what did they do today? They release photos that are cherry-picked, by the way, and they throw in an already publicly released photo of Donald Trump. They blur out the pictures of the women to make you think that these women were underage sex victims, when in fact, they were very adult. They were at an event. It's already a publicly released photo. And one of the women said on the record,
very is
Donald
a strong
Trump
word.
was gentlemanly.
Yeah.
So what the Democrats are doing here is they're taking a very serious story in which real people got hurt by powerful people, all for the purpose of trying to smear Donald Trump. That's what this has always been about. They didn't care about it until now. And what they're doing with these photos is nothing short of outrageous. This is not a story about Trump and Epstein. It's a story about Epstein, but they want it to be about Trump. And I'm just, honestly, it is crazy. When you put out photos and digitally alter and react to people's faces, you know what you're doing, and it's not right.
All right. So once again, look, they made the same mistake the first time. They made the same mistake the first time where they blacked out Virginia Giuffre's name, even though the Epstein estate had not, which, gives them something to hang this on, even though there are lots of photos in here that, well, I won't even say they raise questions because these are the same questions that have been raised over and over again. But it's certainly another piece of evidence to add to the pile. And as these are released, folks, I will remind you, we are within a week now of that 30-day deadline where the DOJ is going to have to put up, shut up, or make some excuse for why they can't do either, which is probably what they're going to do. That's probably what they're going to do. But the USA Today reports new Epstein photos turn heads, but file dumps just getting started. The Justice Department has until December 19th to release as many documents as possible related to its own investigations into Epstein. That deadline was specified in a law that Congress passed nearly unanimously in November and was signed by President Trump. While members of Congress will be leaving Washington by that time for a holiday recess, the timing of the much-anticipated disclosures ensures it will be a dominant topic for at least the next few weeks, if not longer. That means lawmakers will return for the new year facing a range of choices about how to respond to the information that comes to light. Republicans are in control of the Congress, giving them the authority to set hearings and the broader oversight agenda. But many of them have demonstrated a bipartisan interest in fully examining Epstein's complex web, despite the president's connections to it. Trump has repeatedly denied having any knowledge of Epstein's alleged criminality. Though the two had a personal relationship decades ago, Trump has said he had distanced himself from the financier. Well, are the American people buying that Trump did not know of Epstein's criminality? No, they are not. According to the latest Reuters Ipsos poll here, 60% of Americans say Trump knew about Epstein's crimes before they were made public. 60%. 40% almost of Republicans believe that Donald Trump knew about Epstein's alleged crimes before they were public. Those are more devastating numbers for Donald Trump. Now, I don't know if we're going to get to it tonight because we have a lot on the list, but if we don't get to it tonight, we'll get to it Tuesday. The Senate decided to nix the Democrat proposal to renew the ACA subsidies. That's going to be the thing that undoes them in the midterms, no doubt, if you're looking big picture. But stuff like this certainly depresses turnout amongst the base. As you can see, 40% of the Republican base basically saying, yeah, Trump was either in on it or may as well have been in on it. Yeah, those are absolutely devastating numbers. Those are nearly impossible to overcome. And this issue will clearly not go away anytime soon. It's going to be in the news for a few weeks or longer. And who knows what the Democrats will sit on for an October surprise. That's the thing you have to think about getting closer to the midterms. They're cynical enough where they'll hold the damning stuff until right before the midterms, if need be. But there were some great photos in there for your viewing pleasure. Noam Chomsky also makes a few appearances, which we're going to get into in a separate segment. But any thoughts on that before we move on?
Yeah, Trump supporters were absolutely right about our being governed by a bunch of PDF files and criminals and enablers. They just were wrong about it being confined to one particular political party and people aligned to that political party. Now, a lot of them, as soon as they said nothing to see here, there's no client list, as soon as they sent Cash and Bongino out on the plank to make that claim, a lot of them did turn. You saw a lot of I'm never voting again.
Yep.
You know, a lot of them did expand their understanding of what's going on here to encompass the Bannons, the Trumps, and their affiliates. Now you just have a few people who feel such a deep need to belong to this, whatever it is. I always hesitate to say movement. I think that gives it too much dignity.
I think at this point, yes, you're right.
Who just won't let it go. But that's the 39%, I guess, that you get there among the Republicans who just won't accept it. You do get those people, though. Whenever I go at Woody Allen, I mean, it's very funny to see hardcore right-wing Trump supporters defend Woody Allen's marriage to Sunyi Previn. It's incredible because they did a full court press. Like, they're running around doing their damnedest to rehabilitate the reputation of people who are unsavory and have a taste for young girls. Like, once this happened with Trump, they felt like they had to rehabilitate all of them. So yeah, whenever we do a thing on Woody Allen, you get people like, she wasn't his daughter. they never lived together.
Yeah.
What if that were Bill Clinton? What if that were, or any Democrat? Like Woody Allen, you could not be more of a archetypal New York Jew than Woody Allen. And you got these people coming out and defending this guy who symbolizes everything they despise, who married, what for all effects and purposes was his stepdaughter. Even if not technically, for all effects and purposes, he had a hand in raising her. She was in his movie as a child, and he went ahead and married her. Would you defend that? But yeah, the free press and all of these, douchebag dialogue-y kind of outlets rehabilitated him. And now you got these people who are the same exact people who were running around talking about how Trump was going to expose all these PDF files defending Woody Allen's marriage to Sun Yi. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they were making some sort of like anti-woke point at first, but
yes,
given the Epstein stuff, what about that? Like, that's weird. Like,
right.
Look,
well, they
after
tried
he
to
married
recast
Sun Yi,
Woody Allen as a victim of wokeness.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And look, even him being who he was, I still watched all of his movies. Like, I didn't really care. It didn't affect my enjoyment of his work.
That's a separate matter to me.
Right. No, I'm just saying, like, it didn't affect. Like, I wasn't out there trying to cancel him, but at the same time, if your political movement is predicated upon the divide between the godless, hedonistic, cosmopolitan, lizard people and the salt of the earth, God-fearing Americans, seems like an odd personality to try and like rehabilitate, right? I'm not saying you can't watch his movies. I'm just saying like, that always hit kind of weird. And especially now, I'd be interested to see now because he's in so many of those photos, man. Like it wasn't just like, oh yeah, I ran into him a few times. Like he clearly looks very at home in the house. Well, he wrote a letter about there's always good portions like of food. When he puts out, like he was impressed with his hospitality. Like he was clearly a good friend.
It's a wonderful spread.
It's a great spread
at Jeffrey's.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good wine. He has impeccable taste.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I am extremely familiar with Woody Allen's early filmography. It made a very big impression on me as a teenager when I first stumbled on his movies. The fact that he had a taste for underage girls is laced through those movies. I am telling you, if you're familiar with his movies,
oh yeah, of course,
it's in there, and it's not just Manhattan. That's the most obvious one where he's literally dating a high school girl, and he casts Mariel Hemingway, who reads like she's 14. Really, It's also, go watch Stardust Memories. He's having an argument, and his screenplays were all very autobiographical. So you have to say, well, this probably came from life, or there's a good chance it came from life, especially when you take it all together. He's having an argument with his girlfriend, Charlotte Rampling, in that movie. And she's accusing him of flirting with her 13-year-old, I think it was niece, at the table at dinner. And he's denying it. Why is that in the movie? Why is that in the movie? Why is that in there? Like that's a guy who's telling on himself in public and kind of enjoying doing it.
Yeah, and not just that, but like a few different movies of his are about criminals who commit heinous crimes and get away with them.
And get away with it. Well,
and
crimes and misdemeanors.
Crimes and misdemeanors is the most intellectual sort of realization of that. And then Match Point is more emotional, but still the same theme.
Right.
And then there's even the other one he put out with Colin Farrell and Ewan McGregor. I forget the name of that one. That was a more forgettable one, but same exact theme. Guy commits a horrible crime and is able to just train himself into getting over it. And the idea is, if God's not gonna punish me, and I trick people into not punishing me, then I have no reason to feel bad about what I've done. Like that's a recurrent theme in his movies. Yep. We should maybe do Crimes and Misdemeanors or Match Point. They're as a film night, some night. Those are both masterpieces. I mean, those are both amazing movies.
We should do Manhattan to cringe. Point and cringe.
Those are both amazing movies. I mean, that would be an interesting film night to just do a compilation of scenes that incriminate Woody Allen. You know, do a little collage. That might be something. All right, let's move on. All right, we're going to move right on along here to the B part of this. All right, so the Democrats dropped a lot of Epstein photos. They dropped the Epstein holiday photo album, and one that caught a lot of people's eyes was this one. This one, look at that. Steve Bannon, and who's that? Noam Chomsky. Noam Chomsky, look at that. Look at them yucking it up.
Where's
in
the one
Epstein photo album?
Where's the one where they're sandwiching Nathan Robinson?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, didn't get that one. Maybe that's the October surprise. You know, maybe that's the October surprise. Who knows?
You can only identify him from the bow tie.
Well, that's right. That's right. But here they are. Look at that, laughing it up. Now you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it to hear Noam Chomsky's public comments about Steve Bannon, once again pictured here. 2 months after that photo with Bannon in 2019, Chomsky gave this speech on the threat of modern fascism, where he specifically named Bannon as the impresario of the ultra-nationalist reactionary international movement. So why was he hanging out with Bannon and Epstein? Will you decide?
We are not facing the rise of anything like Nazism, but we are facing the spread of what's sometimes called ultra-nationalist reactionary international, trumpeted openly by its advocates, including Steve Bannon, the impresario of the movement.
Seems like kind of a friendly Nazi. I don't know. Seems to get along with him. All right. I wouldn't know it to see that clip. But this isn't the first time Chomsky has come up in these new Epstein files drops. This is back in November. Chomsky had deeper ties with Epstein than previously known, documents reveal. The prominent linguist and philosopher Noam Chomsky called it a most valuable experience to have maintained regular contact with Jeffrey Epstein, who by then had long been convicted of soliciting prostitution from a minor, according to emails released earlier in November by U.S. lawmakers. Such comments from Chomsky, or attributed to him, suggest his association with Epstein, who officials concluded killed himself, of course, in jail in 2019, while awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges, went deeper than the occasional political and academic discussions the former had previously claimed to have with the latter. Now, what's interesting about this is what comes to mind when you read a paragraph like that is what Tucker Carlson said about Epstein, which is totally true, which is that the guy was basically a barely literate moron. Like, do we really believe that Noam Chomsky really valued this guy's company for who he was? You really believe a lifelong scholar, an academic, an author, a linguist, a philosopher like Noam Chomsky really just like appreciated the presence of Jeffrey Epstein? I'm sorry, I don't buy that at all, because what Tucker said was absolutely true. Jeffrey Epstein was a fucking imbecile. He was a moron. If you hear him talk, he's extremely unimpressive. Chomsky, 96, had also reportedly acknowledged receiving about $270,000 from an account linked to Epstein while sorting the disbursement of common funds relating to the first of his two marriages. See, that strikes me as a more plausible explanation for why he'd be hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein, right? Not for the political discussions, right? Through MIT professor, though the MIT professor has insisted not one penny came directly from the infamous financier. The emails disclosed on November 12th by the Republican members of the U.S. House Oversight Committee. See, tit for tat, right? You give us Steve Bannon, we'll give you a Noam Chomsky. Generally detailed the correspondence Epstein had with political, academic, and business luminaries, including the Bill Clinton White House's Treasury Secretary Larry Summers and Steve Bannon, the longtime ally of Donald Trump. Further, they reveal Epstein and Chomsky were close enough to discuss musical interests and even potential vacations. It's too bad he's dead. I could have had him on my new podcast. Perhaps the most telling of the Chomsky-related documents in question was a letter of support for Epstein attributed to Chomsky with the situation the salutation, to whom it may concern. It is not dated, but it contains a typed signature with Chomsky's name and citing his position as a University of Arizona laureate professor a role he began in 2017, as first reported by the Massachusetts news outlet WBUR. So he was friends with him long after it was established that he pretty much was who he was. Epstein pleaded guilty in 2008 in Florida to state charges of solicitation of prostitution and solicitation of prostitution with a minor. He served 13 months of an 18-month sentence and was released in July of 2009. I met Jeffrey Epstein a dozen years ago, read the letter of support from Chomsky that was reviewed by The Guardian after its Republican House Oversight Committee release. We have been in regular contact since, with many long and often in-depth discussions about a very wide range of topics, including our own specialties and professional work, but a host of others where we have shared interests. It has been a most valuable experience for me. It is unclear whether Chomsky sent the letter to anyone. Nonetheless, it exalts Epstein for teaching Chomsky about the intricacies of the global financial system. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's one way of putting it. In a way,
you might say he took me around the world.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. In a way, the business press and professional journals had not been able to do. It boasted about how well connected Epstein was. Yeah, that's pretty damning. It always struck me as pretty damning. You know, the Chomsky stuff, a lot of people took that really hard. I don't know. I mean, am I emotionally attached to Chomsky? Not really. I mean, I feel about Chomsky the way I feel about Woody Allen. Like, yeah, he's done some great work. I think he's a genius. I could watch Annie Hall and not be bothered by the fact that he married his daughter. Just like, you know, I could read Manufacturing Consent and think that's a brilliant book, and that also the guy who wrote it's probably a bit of a fucking creep, which he clearly is. I mean, obviously. Doesn't seem to be much doubt about that.
Yeah, I think what you're seeing here, I think the revelation here of a guy like Carlin being in there, the fact that you've got Chomsky hanging out with Steve Bannon, you got Woody Allen hanging out in the same circles. It would be surprising if they were all so intimate with Epstein if their paths hadn't crossed at some point. It's a big club and you ain't in it, man. Like, once you're an insider.
Oh, that's where you were going. I was about to say George Carlin's not in there. I thought you were talking about Carlin. I don't think you were talking about Carlin being in the Epstein, but I'm like, did I read that and just glaze over it? Did I miss that?
That would be pretty upsetting.
That
would be the last straw. I would just have to become a monk at that point.
Yeah, I would just give up if that were the case.
I would just give up politics. Yeah, hey, when people get behind the velvet rope, there is a tendency to treat other people who are behind the velvet rope as comrades. It's human nature, man. Like, Steve Bannon is behind the rope. Jeffrey Epstein's behind the rope. And hey, man, Larry Summers and all these other respectable people give him the time of day. He's got an office at Harvard. So the ruling class has decided that his sins are not too great for him to have that kind of status and position at the nation's most respected academic institution. So that washes his crimes clean, right? So you're allowed to hang out with him. He's been given the blessing from on high. This is how these people think. And again, it is human nature. It is human nature. Like, they see one another in the end, even somebody who is very class conscious, as Chomsky was, as being a peer, because they're behind the rope.
Right.
They're prominent media personalities. They're all wealthy, right? So, yeah, man, of course you're going to go to dinner. Why not go to the PDF Files house on off of Fifth Avenue? I mean, everybody else spends time with them. Why shouldn't you?
Exactly. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick game break to tell you about the new album, A to Z, Songs from the Tape Deck by our friend John Coa. Congratulations to him. The full album is being released on New Year's Day. That's January 1st, 2026 at midnight in each time zone. So each time zone will have a midnight release on New Year's Day, January 1st, 2026. 34 songs, all 34 at once, the full album, including tracks that we've previewed here, like Just a Little Off the Rails, which is an original song, Not Dark Yet, the Bob Dylan cover, Boy in the Bubble, the Paul Simon cover, Led Zeppelin's Bronny Orr Stomp. You also got Atlantic City by Bruce Springsteen, Elliott Smith's Angel in the Snow, The Stones' Dead Flowers, Doctor My Eyes by Jackson Browne, and lots more originals and covers. So congratulations to John Coa. It's been a long time in the works, but the full album will be released New Year's Day. So to get that album, go to dudissidents.com/Coa and make sure you follow him on wherever you get your music. If you're on Apple Music, Spotify, or on his YouTube channel, the links are all there at dudissidents.com/Coa. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, beautiful. Where are we at? Oh, yeah, we're right. Okay, so you want to do your announcement now? Or no, we're going to do that after this or before?
We can do it now.
All right, do it now. Let's do it. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so as you all know, I am going to be going on a very long 4 to 5 month trip around Asia to 5 countries at the very least, maybe more. So I'm not going to put all that on this channel. It's going to mess up the algorithm. And there's a lot of people who, just don't give a shit about what it looks like from a hot air balloon over Laos.
Yeah, like
so, like Keaton, exactly. Keaton's barely interested in what it looks like out front of his house. So this is my new channel, Russ on the Road. Please give it a subscribe. I built it off of my old theater channel, which was largely subscribed to by people who clicked on a viral video I did years ago when I had very libby politics. Don't go there to see that. I took it down. So, those poor people are now getting those videos. But yes, they're not real subscribers. They're zombie subscribers. So you can subscribe if you want to see this stuff. It's a work in progress. I'm on all the things. I will probably actually be doing a lot of Substack. Right now, there's nothing on it yet. Once I write stuff, I'll announce it here. But I think I'm going to do more than that. Like, I really don't want to turn my life into making content. I'm not trying to become like an influencer. There's just a place to do the kind of videos I like to do, but they don't really belong here. So right now, you got my India videos on there. The only thing from my old channel I kept up was my Hitler New York parody. I just put up something about Oedipus. And today, I have just uploaded a video of me and Jose. I took him for his Christmas present. I took him to see Waiting for Godot. That is running on Broadway right now with, believe it or not, Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted are doing Waiting for Godot. So here's a short compilation. And on the channel, I just uploaded a 15-minute video of me and Jose looking for a place to have noodles and talking about the implications of Waiting for Godot. But this is the pre-show cut. All right, so today we're changing the name of the show to Waiting for Jose. Jose, he's not only running for office, he's running to the theater.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Two races. I already won one, which was getting here before 2. Now we got the second one.
Who are we running against?
Richie Torres.
People in the Bronx are waiting for Richie Torres to provide them affordability like Waiting for Godot, right?
Sure, that's right. I haven't seen. Is this what this is about?
That's what it's about. It's about housing affordability.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's you never read Waiting for Godot?
No.
Oh, so you don't even know what you're seeing today.
No, I'm coming in blind.
Oh, wow.
Actually, my girlfriend did tell me that it was a good play, but she might have been more excited for Keanu.
Probably,
than
yeah.
she was about the content of it, but
yeah. I was talking about this before. This is what they call stunt casting.
okay.
When you get a couple of celebrities, we're gonna do that.
Are we really? We're gonna meet Keanu Reeves. We're gonna get an endorsement from Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves endorses Jose Vega for New York 15. So does Alex Winter.
We're gonna try. Actually, you know what? Katie had Alex Winter on her show. a while back.
Really?
Apparently, he is a lefty, so maybe we can get his. He might know who you are.
Oh, right. Great. Awesome. Well, then that's good. Then, Mr. Winter, I hope to earn your endorsement. Maybe you can come up to the Bronx. We could do a one-man show.
Hello, dissidents. Here with congressional candidate Jose Vega.
Howdy.
We are here to see Waiting for Godot.
Yes, we are.
Or as they call it around Jose's campaign headquarters, waiting for Richie Torres to stop blowing Israel.
That's right.
Right? All right. So now you've never heard of this play, right?
No, I've never heard of the play.
It's going to put you into existential despair.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
I heard about it. Oh, God.
Yeah.
I'm tired of existentialism.
Yeah, you're probably going to quit politics after this.
Oh, is that what this is? This is an intervention on me to drop out of politics forever?
That's it, man, because you're just waiting for Godot, man.
Waiting for Godot.
Just waiting for Godot.
All right, well, I'm interested. I'll give my take afterwards. I'm a critic. I'm a critic when it comes to plays, when it comes to art. As people around me know, whenever I go to performance, I will not clap if I don't like what I just saw. Or at least the
Worse
performance.
than that.
Sometimes I can disagree with the material, but if it's performed wrong, I'm not gonna clap.
Start screaming.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're going to diss Bill and Ted? Is that what you're telling me?
would
If you don't like
I would
the show?
stand up and clap. If there was a theatrical rerun of Bill and Ted, I would stand up for 15 minutes. I'd be the last person in theater still clapping and cheering if they did a rerun of Bill and Ted. Both Excellent Adventure and The Bogus Adventure.
Well, I understand that they do the air guitar thing in the show.
In this show?
In this show, yeah.
Was that just like for fan
because
service?
you got to please the retards.
There's this thing called theater etiquette. I'm not saying I'm very versed in it myself, but we're an orchestra. We are an orchestra, probably next to CEO moguls.
We're pretty close. This is Jose's Christmas present.
That's right.
Not that he celebrates.
Yes.
Right? Do you celebrate? I'm making assumptions here. Do you celebrate?
Well, define celebrate.
I mean,
I'm a Christian.
You are?
I am, yes. I'm actually about to become Catholic. So,
are you serious?
Yeah.
You're serious?
Yeah.
You're not kidding?
No.
Why? So you're trying to get in with like J.D. Vance and that whole crew?
No. Because over the holidays, I spent Thanksgiving with my girlfriend's family, and they're Catholic, like hardcore Catholic. And the grandma was like, "Are you Catholic?" And I was like, "Well," and she said, "You know what? Say no more. Do you believe in God?" I was like, "Yeah." It's like, okay, cool, that's the thing, right? Like, if you want to get married to a Catholic, you got to be Catholic, right? I'm already inclined.
No, I mean, kinda, I guess technically.
Right.
But at least they're not going to Dokapil you.
What? They're not going to what?
Tony Dokapil, the new anchor at CBS.
That guy
cut up his dick for his wife, and she left him with the kids, man. She's in Israel now. And she took the foreskin with her, they say. She got it in the divorce settlement.
That's horrible. You got a thing against Catholics?
No.
Somebody paid $300 to sit next to you while you did that.
Jose's life has changed forever.
The second half, I will say, was very good.
You dug the second half.
It really picks up in the second. It really picks up in the second half.
That's when they have all the kung fu is in the second half.
Really gets going in the second half.
Yeah. So afterwards, we did a whole conversation about Waiting for Godot, walking through Times Square. So if you want to see that, you can go over to my channel. Yeah. Okay. So, this is kind of an ongoing theme. I keep seeing these shows with celebrities in them and talk about how much better it would be if they got real actors. God bless them for getting people to come see Waiting for Godot. It is an extremely difficult play to do. Very difficult. In fact, I've never seen it done successfully, honestly. Now, I am of the opinion that it was scored to be done in an Irish kind of a dialect, and without that, a lot of the dialogue doesn't fall into place. But they tried, but if you imagine what Keanu Reeves doing, Waiting for Godot would be like, you'd probably pretty much got what that was like.
Yeah, not transcendent.
Alex Winter had a better handle on it, or Michael Winter, or Alex Winter. What's his name?
No, I don't know. I forget. I don't know his name.
He had a better handle on it than Keanu, but God bless him, man. They tried. They got people to come see that show.
They got him out. They put asses in the seats.
Got him out of the house.
All right. So once again, the channel is Russ on the Road NYC. YouTube.com at Russ on the Road NYC. Make sure you are subbed up. All right. Let's move on here. We got some super chats.
We do. All right. Pot Thoughts. It's funny because his book isn't on the Marine Corps reading list. Is about Butler. He weirdly died young before World War II, or maybe not so weirdly. Semper Fidelis. Medley was talked about a lot. Of course they don't assign that in the Marine Corps. They don't want people to wise up. Honestly, man, when I go to these military cemeteries, you go to like Arlington, it's so obvious that they're not honoring the war dead so much as they're propagandizing people so they can make more of them.
Right.
That's what it really is. It's not about honoring them. They don't honor them.
Right.
Israel should not exist. All right. $10. We'll take it. Thank you. Thank you. American Rebel. Candace Owens is a low IQ anti-Semite.
Oh.
Well, don't tell her that.
Yeah.
She's our next guest. Four Trees. No pics of Billy Boy Clinton. Yeah, there were.
There was one.
Showed him.
There was one.
We showed him.
Yep.
Marcela. Feliz cumpleaños tu Asquiton.
Gracias.
Tomorrow is my birthday too. Oh.
Hey, there you go.
No. Today's your birthday. Thanks for making me laugh every time you chuckle. Oh.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
You got. I sent you a birthday present. You got it there.
You did.
Show that.
Oh yeah. He got me my.
I got him a birthday present. Oh yeah, look, you got it on the site.
He got me a reference book and a set design for the music podcast, which I'm starting, which is the 500 greatest albums of all time according to Rolling Stone, which I misremembered because I remember when this came out. For some reason, I remembered Revolver being the top of the list, and they have What's Going On at the top of the list. Yeah, this is different. This is a different one because there was definitely different from what I remember it being.
Well, I would imagine they update it.
Yeah, they probably do update it. Yeah, they have Nirvana. They have Nevermind at number 6. That's not a good choice.
You don't agree?
No. Nirvana they were a great band, undeniably a great band. But, Smells Like Teen Spirit, that's a perfect name for that song because I could not get enough of that song when I was like 16, 17, 18.
Yeah.
As soon as I turned 20, it's like I never needed to hear it again. Like I have never longed, and that's an amazing album. It's an amazing album, not just the first track, but I mean, there's a ton of great stuff on that album, but I've just never had an urge to go back to it. It's very of its time, right? Great album. Certainly top 500, maybe even top 100 because it was so great for when it was released. But it's of its time. It's not timeless. It's not something you keep going back to. It's not a Sgt. Pepper's. It's not a Blonde on Blonde. It's not in that category.
I don't know that I agree about the album as a whole. I agree about that song. Like that song is very much of its moment. But Heart Shaped Box, I mean, I think a lot of the songs on the album.
I don't think Heart Shaped Box was on that one. I think Heart Shaped Box was on one of their other ones. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't.
About a Girl was on another one. Was Heart Shaped Box on that one? I know In Bloom is on that one. That's a great one.
All right. We've definitely got freaks in the chat now.
Yeah. Was Heart Shaped Box on Nevermind?
Was Heart Shaped Box on that?
Yeah.
Maybe it was on In Utero.
Yeah. I think that was on a different.
Probably on In Utero. Yeah. All right. Bonzo Kilborn, happy birthday to you, dirtbag, and many happy returns. Russ, bring back some swag from China and raffle to the members. That's a good idea. I'm going to have limited baggage, though. I don't know how much I'm really going to be able to bring back. And I do love me tchotchkes.
Right.
Domark. Chomsky is the same guy in 2021 who endorsed fascist injections of anti-C-19 vaxxers.
That's right.
By the way, I screamed at the screen at the ending of Match Point. I don't remember the ending of Match
Oh, the
Point.
ending is brilliant. The ending of Match
I mean,
Point
I liked the movie.
the ending is brilliant. The ending is the whole thing. It turns.
Yeah,
You'll remember if I.
But I
if
only saw it the once.
If
when
I
it
prompt
came
you,
out
you'll
in the
remember it.
movies.
So the first shot is the tennis ball hitting the net and bouncing straight up, and you don't know which side it's going to land on. And then at the end of the movie, they do that same idea with the key prop. I don't want to give it away in case we do it for a film.
Yeah, you're ruining the movie for everybody.
But it's no, the ending of Match Point is devilish and brilliant. I love that movie. I think it's a great movie.
All right, Kenman G. Russ, love your work. Can you do makeup tutorials? Did you watch the channel when it had the theater stuff? Is that what you're referencing? I never did a makeup tutorial, but one of my people did. Brad Gilbert, where's Keaton with the kids? That's what I thought his channel should be, but he decided not to exploit his children.
No, if I'm going to do a side project,
that's why you're always going to be poor. That's why you're always going to be poor, kid, because you don't want to exploit your kids.
The whole charm of doing a side project is getting to do it alone. Getting to do it by myself.
I could see that. I could. You know what?
Yeah.
Say no more. I could see that. Kevin G. Nobody is waiting for Gal Gadot.
Good one.
And by the way, I saw somebody in the chat saying those tickets are $500. Now when you go to TKTS, motherfucker, what do you think I'm paying $500?
Yeah, no, you can get good same day.
Do fucking Godot.
Yeah,
I got the tickets that morning for the show. You go at 5. Right. You know, it opens at 11. If you want the really good seats, get there an hour early. I got there at 10. And yeah, man, I paid a fraction of that.
Yeah. No, you have to get them because they're so expensive now. It's crazy. It's crazy, theater tickets now. All right. What do we got here? We got Mr. Measy. Bari Weiss looks like that actor Clark Duke from The Office and Hot Tub Time Machine. Change my mind. I don't know who you're talking about, so I will have to reserve judgment on that. Listening to this woman reminds me that people in power are extremely unimpressive. Exactly. Talk about the NATO confession lady. Trying to Shill says, everyone make sure to sub to Russ's travel channel, Destination Dobular, for an authentic traveler's vlog. Better than Bourdain. Thank you. Viaticus Prime, to quote...
heart-shaped boxes in utero.
Yeah. That's the thing. So many of Nirvana's... I like... I don't think about... I forget where About a Girl is. Is that in utero, too? One of my favorite recordings of theirs is the David Bowie cover, The Man Who Sold the World, from the Unplugged album. And it's not even their song, but that's one of my favorite tracks of theirs. To quote myself, like the asshole I am, people think of morality as this lofty notion, much grander than any person. But what is it truly, other than talk or implication of consequences? Beautiful, Vienticus. Speaking of quoting myself like an asshole, Amazon's KDP wants your government ID to publish on their site anymore. I deactivated my account. Interesting. Thank you for that. All right, we are at 3,097 in the chat. This is a great crowd. 25. And 1168 in the like column. All right. All right. Let's move right on along here.
Okay. We're getting a question here. All right, so the courage thing, that was Dan Rather during a very bizarre period at CBS, started signing off with courage. There was serious concern around the network that Dan Rather was mentally unstable and they might have to get rid of him. There was a lot of controversy around Rather because he took over from Cronkite.
Right.
So those were very, very big shoes to fill. And then he got beat up by someone who kept saying, "What's the frequency, Kenneth?" There's actually a song called "What's the Frequency, Kenneth?" based on that.
Yep.
Yes. So they were really worried that not only is he weird, but that weird shit happens to this guy, and maybe they made a big mistake. So that's where that actually comes from.
Right.
All right. So moving along, Jasmine Crockett. Just when you thought it was safe to go back into the Democratic Party, along comes Jasmine Crockett. Not that we thought that, but some people did. Jasmine Crockett's bid is the latest sign that Dems are facing a Tea Party-style revolt by progressives is by Holly Otterbein, who apparently is a Mensa Society member. Voters are very, very angry. Liberal Senators Van Hollen and Murphy are in talk with anti-establishment Senate candidates. Now, as many people were very quick to point out, the assertion that Jasmine Crockett represents some kind of a revolt against the Democratic Party establishment is absolutely absurd. Here's Glenn Greenwald. LOL. So many media people assume black Dems, especially Dem women, are progressive. Jasmine Crockett is a militarist and corporatist. She supports war, Israel, Wall Street, the U.S. security state. That's true for much of the Congressional Black Caucus. Screeching about Trump doesn't put her on the left. It certainly does not. And here's Ryan Grimm telling an interesting story about how Crockett handled crypto donors when she was first running for Congress.
First race in 2020, I have an anecdote about that race in my book about the squad, in which she's confronted with the question of what to do about crypto, because these crypto guys are going around the country. They were going after anybody that they thought was going to regulate them, and they were supporting anybody they thought would be friendly. And multiple people on her campaign told me that she just said, look, what do I have to do? Just tell me. And they're like, well, if you sign this policy statement and post it on your website, they won't go after you, and they'll probably give you a lot of money. She's like, cool, do it. That same campaign, she also attacked her Democratic opponent for taking corporate PAC money, bragging that she had taken no corporate PAC money. Within months of that, she started taking corporate PAC money, and since then has taken hundreds of thousands of dollars of it. And of course, if you're going to capitulate on those issues, you're also going to cave on Israel. She went to visit Israel on a trip paid for by AIPAC. There she is, and has overwhelmingly just voted the party line when it comes to sending weapons to Israel. So when it comes to corporate power, crypto, Israel, she's a very standard Democrat. When it comes to style, not so much. So we'll see how that goes.
We will see. From our friend Professor Zenkis, Jasmine Crockett says, I'm done with politics as usual, yet our top donors include private health insurers, big hospital corporations, high-power law firms, investment corporations, and real estate. In fact, half her contributions last cycle, $1.7 million, came from big money donors and super PACs. Jasmine Crockett is politics as usual. Well, not according to her. Not according to her. She calls criticism of her pro-Israel stances intellectually lazy.
No, you've seen it on social media where people are saying that some of them aren't going to vote for you because of this pro-Israel stance. What do you have to say about that?
What I have to say is that people need to start to do their research and stop falling for the clickbait. Listen, if you loved me before, then what has changed? You can always look at my voting record and know what it is that I have and haven't voted for. But it's quite intellectually lazy if you just sit there and let somebody else tell you something and you don't go and get the full picture. You can always look at my FEC filings and find whatever information it is that you seek. So what I will tell you is that I'm not going to be distracted, because at the end of the day, I can tell you that Texans are concerned about the fact that we lead in uninsured in this country. I can tell you that Texans are concerned because right now jobs are few. I can tell you that Texans are concerned because they can't afford childcare. I can tell you that Texans are concerned because hospitals are about to close down. And if you have questions, then you should just go and look at my record. I have nothing to hide. I wouldn't be running for office if I had anything to hide. But what I'm not going to do is allow people to sit here and have me on the defensive about something that they don't even know what they're talking about, because it is very easy to look up who is endorsed by who and to figure that out. That is intellectually lazy for you not to just go and look who has been endorsed.
I know you're. Wow. Well, that took incredible chutzpah. Jasmine Crockett calls criticism of her pro-Israel stances intellectually lazy and asks for people to look at her voting record. Well, she has voted to cut UNRWA and to arm Israel, along with voting yes on the following pro-Israel House resolutions, and here's a list. So you just got to be really, really confident that the voters that you're after are actually intellectually lazy and are not going to go ahead and look any of this up or follow it up, that they're just going to see the soundbite and leave it at that. Taylor Lorenz here. She keeps telling people to look at her record when her record shows that she repeatedly votes to defend and fund Israel. Matt Stoller. I really dislike Crockett's propensity to engage in dishonesty and gaslighting when asked about her views. If you support Israel, own it. Plenty of Democrats do that. Don't lie about your record and insult people with questions. Yes, well, Crockett dropped a banger of an ad that should shut down all of these objections. Just an incredible articulation of her policy positions, her views on affordability, her views on healthcare. Just an amazing ad that should really shut down the critics.
She's definitely a low IQ person. Crockett. Oh, man. Oh, man. She's a very low IQ person.
Somebody said the other day she's one of the leaders of the party. I said, you got to be kidding.
Now they're going to rely on Crockett. Crockett's going to bring them back.
Wow. I mean, that just says it all right there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I got chills. So here's Glenn. If someone were to ask me to show the emptiness, pointlessness, and vapidity of the Dem Party in one short video, I would show them this Crockett ad. I guess Glenn's not a believer. She says nothing, expresses no views, no policies, just a Trump-centric ad with poser resistance. Well, speaking of the vapidity of the Dem Party, Ed Krasenstein, Jasmine Crockett's launch ad is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, I tells you. This guy's a Canadian lib, Jim Stewartson, anti-fascist Jim Stewartson. The absurdity of sadistic billionaires believing they are somehow intrinsically more intelligent than anyone else is expertly illustrated by this genius ad announcing Jasmine Crockett's Senate campaign. Now, one thing you can give to Jasmine Crockett is she is a uniter, because if there is one thing everyone agrees on, it's that this ad is really great, but for different reasons. Ayanna Presley, my sister in service, Jasmine is a relentless fighter and a brilliant legal mind. She is exactly the kind of authentic, bold, effective leader this moment demands, the people deserve, and the Senate needs. Let's go. Braden, your brilliant fighter turned off our comments. She did. She did indeed. And, you know, Jasmine Crockett is giving people so much material. She's making the Republicans funny again. Jasmine Crockett's first Senate campaign ad backfires big time.
This new one they have, their new star, Crockett. How about her?
But you have this woman, Crockett. She's a very low IQ person.
I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. Crockett. Oh, man. Oh, man. She's a very low IQ person.
Yes. And she wasn't done. Jasmine Crockett is getting backlash from black Democrats after claiming we need illegals in the U.S. because we're done picking cotton.
Go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
Yeah, that's a way to capitalize on Latinos leaving the Republican Party, to being like, hey, we love Latinos because we're not slaves anymore, so I guess we'll let them do the slave. Yeah, no.
You're the new slaves. And hey, if you want to talk about the vapidity of identity politics on the whole, that clip really sums it up. The idea that there was this monoculture of white privilege versus a monoculture of united oppressed people who care for each other was always absolutely absurd. Of course, there are a lot of non-white people who are perfectly happy to exploit other people, who are only concerned about themselves not being on the losing end of that equation. That is not a white problem. It's a human problem. It's a problem of human nature, particularly under circumstances where you lack a sense of community cohesion and it's every person for themselves. They're much more inclined at that point to feel like they're not invested in their fellow person. So it's all about not being on the bottom at that point, right? Because you have no care for the person next to you. It's that kind of a society. Jamarius here. This is the problem with Democrats. They literally do not know how to make a positive case for immigration. Why is she even talking about anyone picking cotton? She's extremely ignorant for using this dehumanizing language. Yeah, no lies detected there. Zaid Jilani, created in a lab to lose Texas. Yep. And this is what a uniter she is. She's bringing together Zaid Jilani and Michael Knowles. They basically have the same take. If she didn't exist, Republicans would have to invent her. Yep. Susan Wild disqualifying. Sorry, I may be a Dem, but I do not endorse this. And here's one MAGA commentator talking about this.
Girl, just tell us you're racist against Latinos. Just say that. You don't even know anybody who picked cotton, A. Nobody's doing that. B, you just said that we need illegal immigrants so they can do what? Go pick cotton? So you're okay with it if they do it? Is this bitch so fucking for real right now? This ghetto motherfucker thinks that she's gonna fucking run shit. And you guys will let her in. Just like fucking Mandami. Y'all are really fucking cooked. I'm telling you, y'all are fucking cooked.
Okay, now recently, Milo Yiannopoulos contended that there are only like 2 straight men in the entire conservative movement. And indeed, the evidence for that seems to be building. Speaking of which, this might be a very strange week for Benny to be outing somebody else for having a completely fake and constructed public persona. But in a due dissidence first, we are unironically using Benny Johnson's reporting as a source. Now, of course, I checked on it to make sure that it was accurate. It is indeed accurate. So here is Benny Johnson outing and dragging Jasmine Crockett out of the closet of her from the streets persona to reveal that she actually went to the most exclusive and expensive high school in her native state.
I don't know what you're talking about. I always thought
this is where Jasmine says she's from, but
shooter.
This is where Jasmine's really from. Welcome to St. Louis, Missouri, Jasmine Crockett's hometown. But let me show you where Jasmine Crockett's really from.
Welcome to St. Louis, specifically the Republican suburbs of St. Louis, with the mansions covered by private schools. This is where Jasmine Crockett was raised. We're talking quiet suburbs, manicured lawns, college brochures in the mailbox, and neighbors who wave when they mow the lawn.
This is where Jasmine Crockett went to school. It's called the Mary Institute and St. Louis Country Day School. It's one of the most prestigious institutions in the entire country, also one of the most expensive. Check this out. This isn't just a good school. This is the #1 school in the entire state of Missouri. It costs $35,000 per year to attend high school here. And the reason why is because the average test scores here guarantee your placement in an elite college institution. It's one of the best preparatory schools in the world. The average SAT score here is 1350, and the average ACT score here is 30. This is an elite institution.
Okay. There are videos of Jasmine Crockett before she constructed her political persona speaking. She does not speak that way. That is a complete put on. It's an act. That is not her actual dialect. That is not her actual accent. She is as fake as a guy presenting himself as a macho alligator Alcatraz kind of a straight guy who secretly hangs out with other men in a hotel room while his wife cries in the lobby. That is how fake Jasmine Crockett
whoever that
is.
may be,
Whoever that may be. We're not naming anybody. Whoever that may be. Yeah, no, her entire political persona is a complete fiction. It's a lie. But here's the kicker. An AstroTurf recruitment process. National Republicans propped up Jasmine Crockett to push her into a Senate run. This is from Not Us, which is an outlet that does some very good investigative work. They've broken a lot of news this year. June News broke that Texas Democrats Colin Allred, James Tallarico, former Rep. Beto O'Rourke, and Representative Joaquin Castro met to discuss the 2026 election. Operatives at the NRSC, the National Republican Senate Committee, realized that Crockett, whose political stock had been rising, wasn't included in that meeting and also hadn't been included in any credible poll. So they decided to change that. Following NRSC's polls, other surveys began to include Crockett and showed similar results. She was surging in the primary. The NRSC then worked to amplify those polls and is taking credit for helping orchestrate the pile-on of these polling numbers to really drive that news cycle and that narrative that Jasmine Crockett was surging in Texas, the source said. Crockett herself even admitted she was encouraged to jump into the race by all the positive polling she was seeing ahead of her announcement. Quote, the more I saw the poll results, I couldn't ignore the trends that were clear, Crockett said during her announcement speech. Crockett did not return a request for comment. But the Republican efforts didn't stop there. In what the source dubbed an AstroTurf recruitment process, the NRSC had allies that were seeding these new polls pretty aggressively into progressive digital spaces. That's a quote. There were several recruitment phone calls and text messages that went out to Democrats and high propensity voters across the state that would urge voters to contact and advocate for Crockett to join the race, the source said. Quote, that was really a sustained effort that we orchestrated across the ecosystem for several months, the source said. Not only was it getting positive news coverage, but her office was directly having traffic driven to it in terms of phone calls urging her to run, unquote. Cornyn was trailing significantly in the polls to Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, and Representative Wesley Hunt was creeping up on him. Polls also showed Paxton faring worse against Allred and Tallarico, the Democrats who had announced they were running in the general election. Then this past week, Allred dropped out of the Senate race, opting instead to run for the House, and Crockett, whose brand of anti-Trump, anti-Republican virality has made her popular with the progressive base, announced she would run for Senate in Texas. You got to hand it to him. You got to hand it to him. Brilliant plan, because this is a great case of someone who has an advantage in a Democratic primary who's going to be a much worse candidate in a statewide race. So look at the polling. Jasmine Crockett, 51. James Tallarico, who polls much better against Cornyn, is at 43 because these Democrats haven't changed. They haven't changed. They see her on Chris Hayes' talking about Trump. Oh, yeah, she's tough on Trump. Yeah, she's tough on Trump. And she's going to get killed, man. She's going to get murdered. And again, to be fair, it's generational. It's a generational divide. 18 to 34, Tallarico. 35 to 54, still Tallarico by a tighter margin. Once you get over 55, Crockett, 59 to 34. These are the people watching multiple sclerosis now. Crockett's on there all the time doing the Trump hate. And that's it. That's it. These people have not changed one bit. They're the same exact people who all Barack Obama had to do was the Monday Night Massacre. And all of a sudden, they're all in for Biden, who none of them really liked. All the polling showed they really didn't like him. They're good little boys and girls. They do what they're told. It all depends on who shows up at the primary, but that's classic Democratic Party. To them, they are not really normal people. They're not normal voters. And to them, Crockett, she says lots of mean stuff about Trump, and she really is very good at getting herself out there in the news cycle and being on the kinds of shows that elderly libs watch constantly, mostly multiple sclerosis now. And so that's it, man. She could definitely win that primary if young people don't show up. For the Republicans, yeah, man. I mean, well played. Well played. Fair play, man. They saw, hey, if we elevate her, forget about it. We got it.
Yeah, it's interesting because, Democrats have been talking for many, many years now about the dream of turning Texas blue. And, it's never come to fruition because it was always a very heavy lift.
Right.
This year, between the three factors that are really dragging Republicans down, which is that the economy has them 40 points underwater with independents, the Epstein stuff has the turnout with the base just really depressed in a major way. And this is perhaps the most significant factor in Texas, Latinos have now turned on them to the point where they're back voting for Democrats in Obama-like numbers, but, more than 2-1. In Virginia and New Jersey, they voted just about 70-30 for Democrats. And, of course, Texas is a disproportionately Latino state. So this is the one year where it's difficult but possible to actually turn Texas blue. Like given how unpopular the Republicans are, and given those three things, given that this is a specifically Latino heavy state, they can actually flip this if they do everything right. But Crockett makes it a much, much heavier lift. I'm not going to say it's impossible because, as we'll get to probably on Tuesday at this point, this healthcare shit is going to be so catastrophic that there's not going to be a safe Republican seat, I don't think, really anywhere. Unless you're up by like 20.
You may be right.
Unless you're up by like 20 or more, which the Republicans are not 20 or more in Texas. But you make yourself a pretty heavy underdog with Crockett. Whereas if you pick a candidate who's better suited to win a statewide race in a huge and diverse state like Texas, they would be in much, much better shape. I think Allred was probably the best general election candidate, and they got him out. I think Allred was probably a better general election candidate than Tallarico, even, just from like an electoral standpoint. I don't know what these people think about every issue. I'm not endorsing anybody, obviously, but I just think like from an electoral standpoint, he seemed to have the most solid numbers, and now he's out, and it's her versus Tallarico. Neither of them are great candidates. She's worse. She's worse. I'm not going to say it's impossible because the healthcare shit is going to be so devastating. I don't think anything's impossible. But in a year where they finally have a chance to do what they've said they could do for decades and haven't done it yet, they're really handicapping themselves in a big way by elevating Jasmine Crockett. There's no doubt about that.
Crockett is a great reminder of why you hate the Democrats. She is everything that is wrong with that party. Just absolutely empty, corrupt, hypocritical, duplicitous, fake, just horrible. Just the worst candidate you could possibly run in a state like Texas. That's why I say I got to give it to the Republicans for seeing that. And they had their back against the wall and said, hey, she's a moron. We could probably trick her into running for the Senate, and it worked.
Yep. A dirty trick, but a good one. All right. We'll take a brief pause here for a word from Rumble Premium. Looking for smarter ways to browse and enjoy your favorite content without ads? Get the Perplexity Pro bundle with Rumble Premium for just $19.99 a month when you sign up before December 31st. That's normally a $29.99 value. With Rumble Premium, you'll get an ad-free viewing experience across all your devices and access to exclusive premium content. No interruptions, just the videos and streams you love anytime, anywhere. Plus, Perplexity Pro boosts your productivity with unlimited research, unlimited uploads, exclusive member perks, and access to the latest and most advanced AI models for faster, smarter answers every day. Save 30% on this powerful bundle. Head to rumble.com/premium before December 31st to sign up and unlock your premium experience. So you get ad-free Rumble viewing plus an AI program for just $19.99 per month. Okay, beautiful. All right, we'll take some Rumble rants and super chats here. You see that tweet I sent you? That's big news.
I'm just gonna put it in the slideshow.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in.
There's
my
enough
next
time.
Piece. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in my next piece. I'm just gonna screen share it. Big news. We're gonna break big news. Are you excited? Ladies and gentlemen? Are you excited for the big news? Tap yes in the chat if you're excited for the big news. Vienticus Prime says, by the way, last I checked, even the Copyright Office allows your filings to exist under a pen name. I'll see if that still holds true when I register my next copyright. I'm pretty sure you can, in a couple weeks. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. Furrow Screen Fire Dancer. I try and say hi to Russell twice on YouTube. I'm going to stick to Rumble and say hi over here. Hi, Keaton and Russell in the legendary chat. Oh, that's you over there. Okay. All right.
I knew it was you. What do you mean?
Oh, okay.
We read your stuff.
Stoop Signs says, I think it makes sense for Waiting for Godot to never have had a performance sufficient for the material. Yeah, it's more of a reading play. It's more of a play that, it's good to read.
I think, Jose actually sent me a link to, they used to do like the Playhouse 90 kind of stuff. They had Burgess Meredith and Zero Mostel do it on TV in the 50s.
Interesting.
I'm going to watch that. That's pretty good casting.
Yeah, I can see that. Vienticus says, thanking military people for their service isn't honoring them. It's actually a twisted killing them with kindness. Thank you for killing innocent people and guarding assaulters and oil. Thank you. Mark Pugliese, maybe you didn't want to hear it again because you heard it a million times, not because you turned 20. Well, that could be the same thing, right? It could be I played it so much when I was a teenager. I listened to it so much that I just got a little tired of it. But yeah, the whole album was like that, and there's some great tracks on that. I mean, there's In Bloom, there's Come As You Are, Lithium, and then Something in the Way. I mean, it's a great album. Like, I can't take it away from that. I just don't think it's timeless. It's not timeless. A top 10 album's got to be timeless, in my opinion. All right, but you'll hear more of my opinions on that. I'll announce the channel launch in the middle of this week. Yeah. All right. You got some super chats over there?
Yeah, hang on. I was messing around with the slideshow. All right. Jim Taleb, super sticker. Thank you, Jim. Media Le Grand Soir. The more predictable our reactions are, the more easily we can be manipulated, and the greater the likelihood that someone at some point will try. And the higher the stakes, the greater the likelihood. Yep. Good point. Daria Creates. Happy birthday, Kay. You and Russell have beautiful hearts. Oh,
thank you.
Thank you. I do.
Well, I do.
And Jericho. Have you guys seen the Erika Kirk tweet?
We are getting to that, yeah.
Yes, yeah. That's why I was just adding it to my segment.
Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, given that tweet, the rest of the show is canceled. We'll go
done.
Right to we're done.
Thank you, folks. Try the fish.
Exactly.
Velma Thomas, Candace, keep up the good work. Your unwavering fight for the truth is what the world needs. I don't know, man. Another super chatter assures us she's an anti-Semite. Jacob, well, maybe that's what you meant. Jacob M. George became a YouTube member. Thank you, Jacob. All right, I'll do one more. Lena Olik. I would recommend our Lebanese legend, musician, communist, Zayed Rabbani. Maybe for your music channel, man.
There you go. All right. Let's move right on along here. Okay, folks. So we have some developments, obviously, on the Candace Owens and Erika Kirk front. I just do want to share this. This was breaking, of course, as of 8:01 p.m. on the East Coast. Erika Kirk says, Candace Owens and I are meeting for a private in-person discussion on Monday, December 15th. Candace and I have agreed that public discussions, live streams, and tweets are on hold until after this meeting. I look forward to a productive conversation. Thank you. So I guess there's not going to be a live stream. Now, I don't know what this means for the Turning Point USA live stream where they're supposedly going through the evidence. I don't know if that's canceled now or if that is still on and they're going to meet in private on the same day.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? But that is, of course, a pretty significant development, seeing as they've been trading barbs in the press lately. So I want to just take you back to this Candace Owens video where she recounts the Charlie Kirk text message, fearing for his life.
Rather explosively, 3 people told me off record, 2 people who have this in a written communication from Charlie, 1 who is a Turning Point USA donor, and I would say very much one of the white knights in this. The very day before Charlie Kirk died, he expressed that he thought he was going to be killed. He told these people, I think they're going to kill me. Okay. He did not express that to me. So I am telling you this based off the testimony of 3 people. And I am saying this because I hope that these people who I think are good will be inspired to come forward with that. Now, again, those conversations I had were off record. I honor that. If I say it's off record, it stays off record. But I'm hoping that watching what I am doing and feeling the energy that is rising across the world for people who want to know what the heck happened on 9/10, that, you know, they will be brave and they will say, yeah, Charlie did the day before he died think that he was going to be killed, and maybe tell us, who is they? Well, for once and for all, who is they? Who is the they that he thought were going to kill him? Now, to answer.
All right. So that was, of course, before Erika Kirk came out and refuted a lot of what Candace Owens has been saying. I shouldn't say she refuted them so much as she told her to knock it off, more or less. So here is Erika Kirk. This is recent, of course, talking to Glenn Beck, saying that she is in possession of Charlie Kirk's cell phone and insists he was not receiving threats the day before he was assassinated. So let's take a look at this.
Not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered, they're coming after me, someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that. And I have his cell phone.
Okay. He didn't say that. You have his cell phone. All right. So somebody is not telling the truth there, obviously. And so this is a clip of Candace Owens on Jimmy Dore's show. By the way, shout out to our friend Jimmy. That was quite the get. Quite the interview. I encourage you to all look it up on his channel. He's dropping the clips. I don't know if they'll ever drop like the full thing, although I think the full thing is up because he's been leaving up the live streams now, the YouTube parts. I think you can watch the whole thing on Jimmy's channel, but please go and do that, and please watch the clips. There was a lot of great stuff in there, and this is part of that. So this is Candace Owens just revealed that Andrew Colvett, the TPUSA guy, told her Charlie Kirk texted him the night before he was murdered that they're going to kill me. So now, because Erika Kirk essentially accused her of lying and making it up, now she's actually saying where the text came from. In other words, where she learned that from when she was originally going to keep that quiet.
Can tell you 1000% that Andrew Colvett told me the night before Charlie was murdered that Charlie Kirk texted him and said, they are going to kill me. Andrew Colvett is the person who received a text message from Charlie Kirk saying they're going to kill me. And I'm not getting that third party. I got that directly from Andrew Colvett. He asked me to keep it off record, and I would have kept it off record if Erika did not imply that I lied, right? So, I mean, I'm not saying she is saying Candace is lying. I am saying that since I was the one who put it out there, she's implying that I'm lying and that that's not true. So we have a scenario here where either Andrew Colvett has told an explicit lie or Erika Kirk is telling an explicit lie. It's not up for me to determine who. I didn't receive that text message, but yeah. And I also was told by a person at Turning Point USA, who I'm not going to name because they are one of my sources, that Dan Flood received the same message. So there you go. I don't know. I believe that she has his phone. I maybe somebody deleted it, but I don't know why Andrew Colvett, 48 hours after Charlie was dead, would lie to me. He did not sound like he was lying. He sounded very concerned about it. And I specifically said, like, who is they? Like, you know, like he said, they're going to kill me. And he said, I don't know who he was talking about. And I thought it's kind of weird. Yeah, that's what I can tell you. I can just tell you the truth.
Wow. This is from a previous interview. I think this is with Megyn Kelly. I wasn't able to track down the source from this because there's a couple of edits. But this is an older interview of Frank Turek. Tells us Charlie Kirk texted him that he knew they wanted him dead. So here's some from another source. Somebody saying that he did receive threatening texts. Or at least felt, I'm sorry, I should rephrase that. At least felt under pressure by some people.
He wrote me this: please pray for me. I'm under the gun on something right now. Prayers appreciated. I texted him and I said, I hope you've increased your security detail. He texted me back. He said, quote, I have. I know they want me dead. And I don't know who he meant by they.
Now, to be clear, this guy has since come out against Candace Owens. Okay. So I don't want to present him as having validated what she's saying when he does not feel that way. But there he is saying essentially what she says Charlie said. Right. So there is corroboration of a kind from a different source. But the MAGA faithful are united behind telling Candace Owens to shut up and stop asking questions for the sake of the widow. And, you know, it's no secret. My position on Erika Kirk has, I think, been too nuanced for everybody. I think everybody hates me when I talk about Erika Kirk. I'm fully prepared to get the slings and arrows for all that, which I'll demonstrate here. But here is Matt Walsh. Here is Matt Walsh chiming in, telling Candace to please back off.
With an immense amount of strength and courage. So when people look, that this is somebody with an immense amount of strength and courage. So when people look at Erika and say, she's acting strange, I've never seen a grieving person act this way. Well, I agree. She's an exceptional person in an extraordinary situation, handling it with remarkable poise and dignity. That is a virtue. And virtue is a strange thing in our day. And even if she were not an impressive person, she would still be a grieving widow. She would still be my friend's wife. And I would still feel duty-bound to support her, as I have over these past 3 months in ways both public and not. So what I am asking everybody, including Candace, is to please leave this woman alone. Let her grieve. Let her pick up the pieces of her shattered life in whatever way she sees fit. She deserves that grace. And we owe it to her. Not because of any specific debt, not because we have no right to question her. Of course, we do have the right. But we have a moral obligation as children of our Heavenly Father to be charitable and kind towards suffering widows.
Okay. Now, I actually don't disagree with that. The problem with what Matt Walsh is saying is that it's a complete straw man. because Candace Owens did leave Erika Kirk alone. She did. She did not initiate this tit for tat with Erika Kirk. Erika Kirk went on Fox News. We covered it in the previous segment. We don't have to play it again. You've seen it. That video is everywhere of accusing Candace Owens of making hundreds or thousands of dollars per episode, spreading lies about her husband. So once Erika Kirk goes there, does Candace Owens not have a responsibility to respond? I think so. This is the level of gaslighting that we're seeing here, not just from Matt Walsh, but from Tim Pool. So here's Tim Pool on Piers Morgan. She turned Charlie Kirk's murder into her personal true crime grift, and now she's going after his widow for clicks.
Thing done, of course, was the murder of Charlie Kirk. And now the second most damaging thing we're looking at is Candace Owens burning down everything he built, and now having the gall to go after his grieving widow and his children, indirectly threatening their livelihoods, what Charlie built. It's a bridge too far. She's said many things that were increasingly, let's just call it, unhinged. And then finally one day she said, pull your donations from this godforsaken organization, with a direct implication in her post saying that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by Turning Point USA, even saying in one clip that his friends would have had to have signed off on his murder. It seems like there is no depth too deep and no bridge too far for her to benefit her career and her show. She would even go after those who loved Charlie the most.
Again, this is conflating the Turning Point USA staff, who were, I'm sure, friendly with Charlie Kirk, with his family. And Erika Kirk did the same thing. You can go after me, but don't go after my family, is what she said on Fox News. Again, another straw man, another just misframing of the situation, of the timeline. It's pretty clear. It's pretty clear that Candace Owens went out of her way not to pick a fight with Erika Kirk. But because Candace Owens was winning in terms of the public opinion battle, it seems like TPUSA had to deploy Erika Kirk to try and shut the conversation down by accusing people, as they always do, of being bad people for asking these kinds of questions. And so just to complete the trifecta here, here is Megyn Kelly, who bit her tongue for a long time. Here she is, coming as close as she has ever come to weighing in on this directly, saying, stop requesting or requiring the FBI or the DOJ to update its evidence for you. They're trying to preserve the integrity of the case for when they get in front of a jury, who are the only people who matter. So let's take a look at this.
Person who understands the law. I also know that the FBI, does not run around updating its investigation and releasing the very latest on what they found. And people who are demanding...
They released the text message chain. They were very proud to show us that.
Right.
When the shooting at the ICE facility happened, they were very, very quick to show us the inscriptions on the casings. What do you mean? They show us what they want to show us for pretty obvious reasons. It's not like if they had kept all the evidence secret, okay, I could maybe understand what you're saying. Even though the FBI's imperative is not to win a trial, the FBI's imperative is to find the truth. It's the prosecutor's job to win the trial. It's not the FBI's job to win the trial. So I don't know that I'd grant you that. But hey, you're the lawyer, not me. So I could maybe grant you that if they had been consistent in keeping all evidence under wraps. But no, when they want to score points, they'll release information that, by the way, you yourself question the veracity of. To who? To the FBI director. We covered that in a previous segment as well. She told Kash Patel, hey, these text messages that you released seem kind of fake. What's the deal with that? Didn't ask a follow-up, of course. Just let him spin.
That the FBI or DOJ do not know anything about law enforcement. Some of us have been covering in-depth legal cases and matters, and have even tried cases and matters for years. That is how I have spent the past 30 years of my life, plus trying cases, involved in the legal system as a trial attorney, then a Supreme Court correspondent covering cases, civil and criminal, then as a legal correspondent for Fox News, legal commentator for Fox News, and ever thereafter. And let me tell you something. The FBI does not run around updating its information after somebody gets indicted.
Except when they want to blame it on leftist violence and use it as a pretext to violate people's First Amendment rights, which I didn't hear you objecting to in any way. Like, if you're going to say this, then why weren't you telling J.D. Vance that he shouldn't be ranting about how there's no coexisting with these people, there's no unity with these people, or Stephen Miller? Did I hear you say any of that? Were you chiding them for being unprofessional and jeopardizing the integrity of the investigation by perhaps swaying the jury, right? I mean, you talk about swaying a jury. Right? I didn't hear Megyn Kelly complain about any of that. But now she's telling the rest of us to shut up and stop demanding answers from the government. Answers to such questions as what? This is the gaslighting here is just amazing. And I want to pull your focus to this for a minute here. Did you know that the police actually claimed that George Zinn purposefully distracted the cops that day? When Charlie Kirk, did anybody know that? Did anybody hear that this guy was actually accused of obstructing justice by the cops? He was taken in and held. This is dated September 16th by the BBC. Man falsely claimed he shot Kirk to distract from real gunmen, police say. It's an excerpt from the article. Mr. Zinn is being held on obstruction of justice charges. Separately, he has also been charged with possession of child sex abuse material. Separately. Now, the New York Times ran a story that exact same day on the 16th. Man falsely confessed to Kirk shooting to help assassin escape, police say. Now, they have a different explanation for this whole child sex thing. Mr. Zinn stated he did it to draw attention from the real shooter, the officer wrote in the affidavit, and later said that he was glad he had falsely confessed so the real suspect could get away. Police said there was no evidence that Mr. Zinn had colluded with the actual assassin. The Utah County Sheriff's Office said that the police had taken Mr. Zinn to a hospital because of a medical issue, and that while there, he allowed officers to look at his phone. When he gave them the phone, he said the officers may find sexual images of children. He was additionally charged with 4 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor, a felony charge. So 2 slightly different accountings of the same event. Right? Did they discover the stuff on his phone when he gave them the phone at the hospital? Or did the cops discover that separately, as the BBC reported? Pretty strange. Pretty strange. But what you could see here, 2 papers of record here, the BBC and the New York Times, are both confirming that he was accused, if not charged. I guess he was never formally charged with obstructing justice, but he was held and questioned and accused by the police of having aided and abetted the actual shooter that day. So he was accused of a crime that day. There's no question about that. So we know for certain now that there were 2 people at that crime scene who were accused of crimes. We know that. It wasn't just one. It was obviously Tyler Robinson and now George Zinn. So at that point, how are you going to try and convince me that it is not completely reasonable to ask, well, if 2 people committed a crime that day, did George Zinn have foreknowledge of the shooting? How is that not a reasonable question? You're telling me that in the spur of the moment, his improvisational reaction to seeing a gunshot and seeing Charlie Kirk fall over dead was to say, oh, I know what I'm going to do now. I'm going to pretend like I did it. And when the police cuff me, I'm going to carry on like I'm the guiltiest man on earth. So that did he come to that? Did he think of that in a split second? Because he would have had to have thought of that in a split second if he did not have foreknowledge of the shooting. Now, maybe he did. Maybe he's that fucking insane. I don't know. But that seems very, very unlikely to me. And you are not going to gaslight me into thinking that it is not completely reasonable to wonder, oh, if the police are saying that this guy did what he did to help the shooter get away, is it not worth investigating whether he had foreknowledge? Did the FBI look into that? Are we going to see the questioning at the police headquarters? Remember when Alec Baldwin shot the cinematographer? Law and Crime released the hour-long interview of the cops interviewing him after the fact, and then you see the really upsetting moment where they tell him that she didn't make it. Are we going to see that interview? Are we going to see what the cops asked George Zinn? Are we going to have any confidence that they discerned whether or not he had for now. Maybe based on their questioning, they decided, hey, you know what? This guy was just crazy enough to want to take credit for a crime he didn't commit, even though the penalty for that crime is apparently death in the state of Utah. Like, you're going to tell me that that's not extremely suspicious? You're going to tell us, no, trust the FBI, trust the DOJ. This is a conservative movement that has really branded themselves nothing if not relentless skeptics over the last 5 years, whether it comes to COVID or January 6th or anything else, right? Imagine the shoe were on the other foot. Imagine a Democrat were president and a prominent progressive influencer, activist, organizer, God forbid, obviously, were killed. And the Democratic administration jumped on it immediately and said this is radical right-wing extremist violence, and we have to use this as a pretext to crack down on right-wing organizing and investigate and prosecute the funders of these radical movements. They would be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're telling me they would accept the official story of what happened without making the government prove the case? Which, by the way, that is the bedrock principle upon which this country is founded, is that people are innocent until proven guilty. And if the government's going to put someone to death, as they're talking about doing in Utah now to Tyler Robinson, they have to prove their case. That's all. That's all. And I'm not even saying Tyler Robinson had nothing to do with it. I'm just saying, if you look at that, just the George Zinn thing itself stinks to high heaven. And if one thing stinks, the whole thing stinks. And yet you have a conservative movement that really made its bones on being relentless skeptics. Charlie Kirk said, when you stop asking questions, you're no longer free. And he was right about that. And now you have this whole MAGA space coalescing around the idea that, no, we have to shut up and trust the government. And the one person, I shouldn't say one, because Tucker has joined her to an extent, but the most prominent person to actually live up to her brand as a skeptic is apparently now being ostracized. And we'll see what happens tomorrow on Monday. It'll be today by the time the clip drops. When Erika Kirk and Candace Owens talk, we'll see what the fruits of that conversation are.
Well, that's why this whole thing is coming apart, because the core premises of the movement will not allow a large portion of the people who subscribed to it or became part of it or saw themselves as part of it. They won't accept this. You're dealing with an entire political point of view that you helped to cultivate that is deeply suspicious of the deep state and government narratives.
Right.
And you're going to come to them and tell them that something that sounds like, something that fell off Raymond Chandler's desk and was buried in the back of a warehouse for 70 years was written by a couple of kids in the 21st century. Really? You're going to tell people they have to accept that on top of no Epstein client list, nothing to see here, wonderful secret. The whole overall picture, they've lost them, and you can really see who the filthiest whores in Tijuana are by who's coming out to try to sell this. Tim Pool, Megyn Kelly, Matt Walsh, man. Why is he the one that didn't lose his job with Ben Shapiro, right? Candace, out of there, man. Matt, he's been able to stay there, man. That's what they call a shab. It's what they call a Shabbos goy. Yep. He's the Shabbos goy around Daily Wire, man. And what he's doing now, that's exactly what they use him for. They use him to go out because he has a certain credibility with a lot of people because of his work on trans issues and his documentaries. And frankly, I think he's more talented than most of his peers. He's actually good at what he does. They send him out there to massage things when they need things to massage. When they needed somebody to go out and say, this is trans left radical activism in the wake of the Kirk shooting, Walsh was right there, man. Walsh was right there. That's his job. None of these people, this is really a moment where you want to know who's honestly, you can always be wrong. People can be wrong. But when you want to see who's compromised, look who's out there saying nothing to see here. You don't have to look any further. Anyone who is saying that is bought and paid for. anyone who's saying that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone who's saying that has a reason to be saying that, I believe. I mean, just the George Zinn thing alone. As soon as that,
Right.
I remember that
How
day.
could you say nothing to see here? How could you say that?
I remember that at the very least, how you should want to. Now, look, the FBI could say, look, we can't prove a negative. We can't prove that he had no foreknowledge of the situation because you can't prove a negative. Okay, but show me that you did your due diligence in order to ascertain that there was no foreknowledge there. Because what you're asking me to believe is that this guy just decided in a split second after a gunshot went off that he was going to take credit for it. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Also, let's hear from the doc. And also, part of the what's important about raising these questions before the trial, even if the FBI and the DOJ can't answer them before the trial, I think it's important to get these questions out there before the trial so that we see if they're answered at the trial. In other words, Andrew Colvett says, well, I talked to the surgeon or the coroner, pardon me, and he said that Charlie Kirk's neck bone stopped the bullet and it was a miracle. I'm sorry, I don't believe in miracles.
I mean, right
you
there.
have to do better than that. You have to do better than that. So, are we going to hear from the doctor at the trial? Is the doctor going to speak for himself and say how that happened? Because you're asking me right now to accept that it was a miracle. And I'm sorry, I don't believe in miracles. God bless you if you do. I believe in cover-ups, not miracles. Okay? So, you can't say nothing to say. Like, you just can't say that. And what Matt Walsh says there, he says, well, you have the right to question her, but you shouldn't attack her. I agree with that 100%. And nobody did attack her. Nobody did attack her. I mean, I'm not saying nobody. There are people on Twitter who may, but
That's
Candace Owens certainly didn't.
Well, that's what also tells you that Matt Walsh is part of the op. Like, a lot of people are analyzing, and we'll get into it in the other segments. Whatever the motives are, whatever people's intentions or not intentions are, this Erika Kirk tour has been a classic psyop. You put people in a position where if you ask questions, you're attacking a grieving widow. And all of these people do it. Democrats are masters of that. You're evil if you ask questions or if you say this. They all do it. That's the intention of the tour. The intention of the tour is to shut down that conversation. What Matt Walsh is saying is completely within that script. So at that point, you have to ask who told him to frame it that way and why. What are their intentions? Who's really behind what looks like, I think we can safely say, a coordinated effort to stop people from believing their lying eyes and instead believe Kash Patel.
Exactly. Wow, we may have more breaking news. 2 dead at Rob Reiner's L.A. home. LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division response. So is he dead? I see people saying rest in peace, Rob Reiner. On Google, it says he's dead. But I don't.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Did someone kill him?
Someone kill Rob Reiner? Dude, this is a crazy day, man.
Seems possible.
It's been nonstop since we got up.
Yeah. It says developing story. On Google, it says that he has died. At this story, it just says 2 dead at his home, which obviously is not good. Wow.
I mean, it's not in my news feed yet.
Yeah, on Wikipedia now it says was an American film director. Wow. All right, well, we'll have to look at that. That's crazy. Well, is that right-wing violence? Seems like it would be, right?
I would imagine.
Seems like it would be.
All right.
All right. Wow, that's crazy. Wow, this
died December 14th, 2025.
That's what it says on Google.
That's how it comes up on Google.
Yeah, that is crazy. Wow. All right. Well, we'll keep. Yeah. We'll keep chugging along. I'll see if I'll pull it.
Yeah, you're right. Like, all the reporting right now is 2 dead.
2 dead doesn't say him.
But Wikipedia has gone to was.
Yeah, Wikipedia and Google. So let's see. Wow, that's really crazy. That's really wow. Oh well, we will. I mean, we're here with you all. We'll keep up to date on that. Obviously. Richard Lee Pemberton says Walter Kern defends attacks on those fentanyl boats and goes on Megan to attack Somalis. Now he's hating on Candace. Brags about knowing guns, but thinks 30-06 makes a pinpoint neck wound. Yeah, it's quite the guy there. Zen 1, 234 likes and 1.3 viewers. Let's go, boys. Yes, we got a Rumble homepage just tonight. So we're at 1,400 in the Rumble chat. Smash that like button in the Rumble chat. Smash that follow button over on Rumble, please, and thank you very much. Okay. Bring ya Tigrinya. You hear Chumbawamba. Do you think one hit wonder or one of the most highly evolved and radically sophisticated groups of all time? Hopefully it's the latter. Read the cover of the boy bands have won. Yeah.
I have heard that about them. I have had people say like that's the song they're known for, but they're actually a much more interesting band than people know.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff because back in the day, a lot of bands would just record albums with so much filler on them because you had to get the album out in order to sell the single, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think, was there anything else on that album that I remember liking? Because I definitely had that one.
You had the album?
I had the album as a kid. Yeah, I had the CD. Or I had the audio tape. That was a cassette tape. That was before the days of CDs. Yeah. All right. Furrows Queen, if you have a reasonable rate and I can afford you, maybe you can come on my music podcast. Of course, do you have one? I'll go on yours.
Yeah. Do you have a music podcast?
I'll go on yours for free, Furrows Queen. I'd be happy to. We'll talk about some Dave. All right. Why don't we move right on along? Got some super chats?
Yes. Race car. No, man. Jasmine has to be for real. Can't fake that swagger.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you can. I think she's doing it. Brad Gilbert. Nirvana is to Keaton what Nickelback is to Canada, eh?
I don't get the analogy, but no, I don't think so.
I don't think so. SBZP5KN. All right. Did I say Carlin? Is that what happened? Did I say? Did I accidentally say Carlin?
The way you phrased it made
the
me
way
sound
I phrased
like
it was
you
confusing.
thought Carlin was in the file.
All right. So listen, before you drop that clip, some people, because things happen when you're on a mic, some people just put like a little subtitle in when things like that happen.
I could just cut it out or something. Yeah.
Or you can cut it out if it's weird.
Well, my favorite was when we had Greenwald on the show, and I was summarizing this range of opinions on the right regarding Israel-Palestine. And I said, there are some people on the right who are kind of like us. They're not quite free Palestine, but they're Israel critical, like Tucker. And the way I phrased it was stupid. It made it sound like we were not on the free Palestine side.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it until after.
That's why we can't get them on now.
I saw people in the chat being like, what? I thought you guys were for a free Palestine. And I'm like, yeah, what, didn't I say that? And then Russ is like, no, the way you said it kind of made it sound like you weren't. Could have said something at the time, could have corrected myself when he was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess not.
Well, it's always a judgment call.
Yeah, it's always a judgment call when you're going.
Jump in on somebody in the middle of an interview.
Yeah, exactly.
Carlin was with Epstein. I tried looking it up, but couldn't find anything. If you point out where you found it, please tell me it isn't George Carlin. Yeah, I don't know what I said.
It's going to be a news story tomorrow. George Carlin in Epstein files report. George Carlin. George Carlin all over Epstein files.
That would honestly would be the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
John 2017. I love the idea of Rumble, own a few shares of stock, but it just sucks compared to YouTube as a platform. Love from Florida. I gotta say, although on YouTube we've been getting a lot of people saying they're going crazy with the ads. But Rumble definitely goes crazy with the ads. That's for sure.
While we're doing this, we'll hit the scroll while we read some super chats. But shout out to the members. By the way, it's Sunday night, so Q&A after the show. We're also doing our final segment of the show over on Rumble, so make sure you come over for the end of the show, and then we will be doing a Q&A afterwards. Go ahead.
I have mid-hat. Guy, please reach out to Elon Mizra. Who is that? Do you know who that is?
No, I don't know.
Matt Mali. Probably someone I owe money to. Love the way AI farms are presented by Fox as the new Tennessee Valley Authority. Like AI farms represent modernization and are necessary to benefit you. Exactly. I mean, that's the grift.
Right.
That's the whole grift. Benjamin Steber. Candace's problem is that she wants to grind all her axes at once. It was Israel, Trump, and France because of money, and Macron's wife is trans. I mean, she made a pretty good case for that. I did watch her series on that.
Yeah, I told Russell, I said, I don't know what this 5-part series is, but you look at Brigitte Macron, of course she's a man.
Yeah.
It's a man. I look at that, I'm sorry. It's a man's face.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know what I don't know why I need to watch 5 hours about it.
I mean,
but,
she looks like Fred Gwynn. Brad Gilbert. Why is his phone not in police custody? I have that in my segment.
Yeah, it's another question.
Yep. Brad Gilbert. Erika is neither grieving or a widow, still faked. Yep, I get into that. I am doing a segment dealing with that side of the story. Over the top. Murder is a crime against the state. We are all the state, so we have the right to ask anything to anyone at any time. Well, yeah, I mean, that's why it's an op, because obviously nobody was really going after her. No one was really talking about her. But by definition, if you're going to go out on a book tour and you're going to spend a lot of your time talking about this, you cannot then tell people they can't address her because she's talking about it.
Well, yeah, they
can't do that.
Right. When you go on a book tour, of course,
no one was talking about her.
Right. Of course, you're going to be asked the question, what do you think of all these conspiracy theories?
Well, but that's the point. And
Right.
that's why it's an op. The
Yeah,
only
well,
question is, what's the purpose? Sparky, wasn't waiting for Godot conceived as some sort of teaching exercise for acting? Is that true? I never heard that. I know I talked about this with Jose in the 15-minute clip that is on the Russ on the Road channel. Supposedly a woman asked Beckett or told him, I understand what the play's about. It's waiting for God. And he responded, I know how to spell. If that's what I had meant, that's what the play would have been called.
Right. Okay, so good news on the Rob Reiner front. His death has now been taken off of Google, and Wikipedia has now switched back to that he is an American film director.
Okay. They jumped the gun.
Maybe. I mean, it's good news for him that he's not dead, and obviously I'm glad he's not dead, but 2 are dead at his home. So who knows what that's about.
I mean, Grokkopedia probably still has him as dead. Sparky. Christopher Walken was great in Annie Hall. He really was, especially when he talked about intentionally swerving into oncoming traffic.
That's my favorite line.
Yeah,
of the
that's
movie.
a great scene.
My favorite line of that movie is when Woody Allen is talking to him, and at the end of the conversation, he says, "All right, I need to go. I'm wanted back on planet Earth.
I'm due back on planet
I'm due
Earth
back on
now."
planet Earth now." Yeah. All right.
Okay. You got some?
No,
did
I'm good
yours?
for now. Let's
You
go.
did them already?
Yep.
All right. We're getting into this.
Yeah, let's do
We're getting into it. Okay. All right. So as you probably heard, Bari Weiss made her big mark on CBS News this week, and she announced her plan in this now infamous walk and talk. Hang on. How did we arrange this? Oh, hang on. Did I never load that? I never loaded that one in.
Oh.
So hang on.
All right.
Because we had a lot of confusion before the show. I thought I did.
All right, here, I'll read some of these super chats while we're looking at this. R.I.P. Rob Reiner. May have my differences with the man, but he still created my favorite childhood film, The Princess Bride. Yeah, man, Rob Reiner is, well, apparently it was premature, the reporting of his death. Now they have taken that back, so we will have to wait and see. But yeah, and obviously, I mean, Spinal Tap, amazing film. And I always found him to be funny. Like, I always thought he was personally a funny person, you know. Like, and obviously, when Harry Met Sally, I mean, he was good at what he did for sure. Keaton Russell bringing the big brains and common sense to the case. Thank you, Terry Banks. Appreciate that very much. What do we got here? Our laws mandate an amount of Canadian artists hour by radio. NB got overplayed during their peak. And now we got so tired of them. Never with Rush, though. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm not saying that. Yeah, no, I'm not comparing Nirvana to Nickelback. But yeah, no,
he wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't do that.
Come on.
No, Rush is that's a more timeless band than Nirvana for sure.
We good.
All right, good. All right, go ahead.
All right. So Bari Weiss is putting her mark on CBS, much to the chagrin of a lot of the staff at CBS, as we'll see. So she announced her big new town hall idea with this walk and talk.
Sat down for an hour with Erika Kirk and we talked about everything. We talked about what was going through her head when she stood on that stage and forgave her husband's alleged murderer. We talked about all of the conspiracies surrounding his assassination. And of course, we talked about grief, political violence, and so much more. Watch this.
Okay, so understand what the intention of something like this is. It's to communicate that Bari Weiss is a real reporter. That's what the walk and talk is. It's to, I'm a shoe leather reporter on the case, which, remember, Bari Weiss has never been a reporter in her entire career. She has only ever been an opinion writer. She has never been a journalist, but she is taking advantage of her position to act out her fantasy and cosplay as a
Saturday
journalist.
night on CBS at 8 p.m.
Okay, so some of the actual journalists didn't take too kindly to this. CBS News staffers rip shallow Bari Weiss for moderating absurd network town hall with Erika Kirk. How embarrassing, one network staffer told The Independent. Barry's been editor-in-chief for 5 seconds and has revealed that all she really wants is to be on TV herself. Remember, editor-in-chiefs don't normally do this. They don't normally appear in front of camera this way.
Right.
So here are some of the questions you had to answer to come to this town hall and be in the audience. Which religious figures or leaders do you most admire? Are you grieving the loss of a loved one? If so, please share who and how you're coping with your grief. Would you describe yourself as evangelical? If so, why? So that was a completely natural audience with a mix of opinions that they had in there for that town hall, not controlled at all. So in the lead up to this, Bari Weiss said something that's very revealing of why she's been hired in the first place and why she'd be having Erika Kirk on. Very revealing of why Larry Ellison installed somebody who's completely unqualified to be in that position. She's very qualified for what he wants, which is, and this is very much the Zionist project. They really, really, really want to tie right-wing conservatives to a Zionist agenda and to a censorship agenda. They have, from day one, they have been trying to make it woke to not share Zionist opinions and to not want to suppress speech. They have been desperately trying to tie those things together. Bari Weiss has been hired to do that. Having Erika Kirk on this way is part of that agenda.
Murdered 3 months ago. If you go on the internet, and frankly, it has leapt beyond the internet now into real life, and you talk to many seemingly sane people, they do not believe that the 22-year-old named Tyler Robinson that has been arrested and charged with his murder is the actual murderer.
Who did they think? Yeah.
They believe any number of theories. They believe that Erika Kirk was his Mossad handler and that he was killed by a foreign government. They believed that she was tracked by Egyptian planes. They believe that the rings on her hand are signs of Illuminati. The theories themselves are absurd. What matters is that, because she speaks about this in the interview, the brain rot that social media is allowing to spread, the way that it is detaching us from humanity, from our ability to talk to one another and our ability to discern the truth from just out and out lies, is something that is incredibly important as a theme, I think.
That's what
I am looking forward to Bari Weiss's segment where she calls out Fat Randy Fine for calling for the elimination of all Muslims.
Right.
Seems pretty dehumanizing and hateful to me. Owen Schroyer. So now they want to use Charlie's name to push censorship. Unbelievable. And this is who has the big town hall with Erika tonight. Also, who has benefited greatly during this administration via Ellison. Zaid Jilani. Zaid Jilani, man, he's I don't know, man. We're gonna have to start calling him right wing adjacent. This is the second time he's come up tonight in agreement with some people on the right. Now that a billionaire who shares her parochial interests hired her back into mainstream media, she no longer has to pretend to be in favor of alternative and independent media. Exactly. Of course, I'm joking. You know what? Lobotomy victim, former reporter, current bottom bitch to a dry drunk, Matt Taibbi, assured us that everyone complaining about Bari Weiss taking over CBS News was a jealous loser. It was like a spaniel expecting their master to cut everything into bits. She was the plucky, independent media person who was going to bring a newfangled independent media sheen to CBS. Doesn't really look like it's working out that way. It looks like she's using her platform to call for censorship, something that Matt used to care a lot about. Not so much lately. I guess every time he tries to speak on those things, Walter puts him down at the bottom of the well and he gets the hose again. 25 posts in 3 days from CBS featuring Bari Weiss with Erika Kirk, or maybe Erika Kirk with Bari Weiss. It's hard to tell who was supposed to be the one featured in all this. Yeah, very good point. And this includes a video, if anyone wants to look it up, of all those 25 posts they put up. Clint Russell here. So to get into some of the actual clips, I've never bought the Erika is Mossad arguments, but having a likely Mossad asset like Bari ask her this question makes me wonder. Also, this entire interview is a disaster. So scripted and fake. TPUSA is in trouble. Just the truth. Yes. Let's take a look.
And yet there are a huge number of conspiracy theories, you might call them brain rot, that are spreading right now online about the actual story behind the reality. One, people say that Tyler Robinson was actually a MAGA Republican. Or two, some people say you were actually a Mossad agent sitting in front of me, and you were Charlie's handler, and Israel killed Charlie.
Right.
Other people say that a number of men in the crowd were wearing maroon T-shirts, and this signifies that his killing was an elite airborne operation, whatever that means. They say that the rings on your fingers, which are
my kids'
initials,
my wedding band, the Medal of Freedom, my engagement ring.
But apparently they symbolize
Crips,
some kind of secret
Bloods.
plot. There's also a new theory that Egyptian aircraft have been tracking you.
Mm-hmm.
What is going on? Why are there so many conspiracies spreading about what seems to be a pretty open and shut case?
This is the first time that we have seen evil on display where we have social media at our fingertips. Something so evil that happened, people are wanting answers immediately. They are wanting to figure out how to wrap their mind around this. Egyptian planes.
Egyptian
planes.
Do you believe that Tyler Robinson murdered your husband?
Yes, I do.
Why do you think it is so hard for so many people to believe that reality?
Because it's too simple. Again, everyone always has to think there's more to the story. Well, sometimes there's not. I've seen the autopsy report. I've seen our case pulled together. I've been in constant contact with our lawyers, the prosecuting team. I've seen it all. Again, everyone.
Okay, so this is part of the problem that they're having. The fact that there are so many points in the official narrative that are absolutely absurd. from Charlie's adamantium neck bone to the idea that two 21st century gay kids write like they just stepped out of the 1920s. Nobody's buying it. This is why Turning Point USA is in trouble. Nobody's buying it. For anyone who gets mad when Erika Kirk gets questioned, F you and your mom and your sister and your dog. She's been caught lying. Spare me the news. And here's what they mean in this particular case.
Again, everyone always has to think there's more to the story. Well, sometimes there's not. I've seen the autopsy report. I've seen our case pulled together.
What did she say?
I've seen the autopsy report.
So I did do the request. They emailed me back. He did not go in for an autopsy. The death certificate was signed by the doctor at the hospital.
Oh, okay. Can you just do a quick documenting that?
I'm sorry, 10-9?
Can you just add a step to the case documenting that there was no autopsy?
This is insane.
Yeah, and that is one of many things because the official narrative is really indefensible. You start defending the official narrative, you're going to start running up against a lot of contradictory facts. This is another clip that made the rounds of Erika Kirk claiming that Charlie was fiercely loyal to Israel.
Charlie always would say very clearly, Jew hate was brain rot. He would always say it. We've been to Israel twice together. And to be able to walk in the place where our Lord walked and see the Bible come to life in Technicolor, how could you hate that place? How could you hate the Jewish people? Why? Because you need to fulfill a conspiracy theory? I'm wrapped in, people say I'm a part of conspiracy theories all the time. It's sick, and it needs to stop. We are human. No one is perfect. No Christian is perfect. No Jew is perfect. No Muslim is perfect. We are broken, sinful humans in need of a Lord and Savior. And that's why it is so important to give your life to the Lord. Because once you do that and you fully surrender to the Lord, you have no room in your heart for hate. And so, sir, I am so sorry what happened to your daughter. I pray that does not happen, and I pray that that is something that we can somehow extinguish in this world. But we are living in enemy-occupied territory. And every single day we need to guard ourselves, guard our minds, guard our heart. And the best way to do that is reading God's word. And you cannot separate the Old Testament from the New Testament. You cannot.
I'm sorry, you do it very quickly. Bari Weiss is such a degenerate, low-life, bottom-feeding whore that she would bring two victims together to do basically a propaganda clip for Israel, right?
Yes.
The one guy who lost his daughter and then the woman who lost her husband. I mean, the fact that she's sitting there on stage for it, too, as the supposed editor-in-chief of centrist news. I mean, it is so immediately discrediting.
Well, this follows her major scoop on David Portnoy getting yelled at on the street.
Yeah.
Somebody who has said horrific things himself, although her crackerjack journalism didn't manage to uncover that.
Even the leading questions that she asked to Erika. What about the Egyptian planes? What about the?
Of course.
Of course. What a piece of shit.
Well, this is
she's a disgrace to the Weiss name. Is what she is.
Should we tell people she's your sixth cousin now?
That's great. Yeah.
Your sixth cousin. Some people have pointed out here that the record really doesn't support what Erika is saying. Not that over the course of his career, he was not an Israel supporter, but you're kind of leaving out a major part of the story by not mentioning these texts, for example. Just lost another huge Jewish donor. $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Ugh, the response. Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. I'm sorry, you cannot go on a stage and pretend that there's no complexity at all to this story, that Charlie was just an uncomplicated devotee of Israel and Zionism right to the end, no mitigating factors. That's BS. And even if you don't want to get into that, you can take a look at this. His views were always a little more complicated than she's making out there.
And Jewish donors, they have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the number one funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And now it's coming for Jews, and they're like, what on earth happened? And it's not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it. It's like time for you guys to wake up and say no more, draw a line in the sand. I don't care if you hate me.
Erika,
All right. So this is something that I've been saying for a very long time, that we've both been saying, I think. Part of the problem that they're having with an organization like TPUSA, trying to convert everybody over to Zionism, is that a lot of people within that movement are essentially anti-Semitic. You know, what Charlie Kirk is saying there, that is a classic anti-Semitic trope, that Jews are pornographers and they're behind all of vice and sin, and that's what they put their money into, encouraging degeneracy. I mean, this is a very old stereotype. I mean, it was core to the Nazi view of world Jewry and predating the Nazis. You can't play footsie with that and then tell everybody you have to be an Israel supporter. Those two things don't work together. And as you can see from that clip, Charlie played that game too. He played that game too. And that's part of why they can't corral all these people into the fence. You see it all the time now. I mean, as two Jews who cover this, cover Israel very, very critically, we draw in a lot of those people. Not as many as we used to since we had our whole Darryl Cooper thing, but we still draw in some of those people.
We're drawing enough to keep the lights on around here.
We do, yeah. We you know, we show up every now and then at the Stormfront bingo parlor, and have to keep around. And yeah, you know, very often they will conflate that. They'll conflate. See, Charlie's trying to separate those two things, but I think it's very common on the right. I mean, I know it's very common to put Zionism and that together. It's all symptomatic of the degeneracy of Jews, right? They run Hollywood and they murder Palestinians, right? So trying to split those things up, if you're going to traffic in the one trope and say, no, not that trope, that doesn't work.
I mean, they do run Hollywood and murder Palestinians.
Well, they do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, granted.
Touche.
Granted.
Yeah, granted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that, Adolf. I hate that movie, Gone with the Wind. It's awful.
Yeah.
Okay, so in their in maybe the most cringe moment of the evening, you want to talk about a dirty whore. So Bari Weiss gets the guy who asked Charlie the last question he ever got asked before his assassination.
Yeah, she's just a disgrace.
To ask Erika Kirk to denounce Donald Trump.
Erika, as you know, the last person that Charlie ever spoke to was a Utah Valley student named Hunter Kozak. He was asking Charlie a question that day when he was shot, and he's here tonight, and he wants to ask you a question.
Hi there. Erika, I want to tell you how much I appreciate your calls for peace and unity. And I'm likewise horrified by the people in my so-called camp who were cheering about Charlie's murder. I believe that they stoke the flames of violence. But even worse is when powerful, influential people on either side of the aisle stoke the flames. When they do it, the flames can become an inferno. And this leads me to Donald Trump, the most powerful and influential person on earth, who has more responsibility than anyone else to put the flames out. Just last month, President Trump called on 6 Democratic lawmakers to be tried for sedition, which he clarified was punishable by death. He then reposted a simple message: hang them. I think that you've been making strides to bring peace to our country, and that Turning Point has been asking Democrats to decry the individuals who cheer for violence. I have and will continue to decry them. But any good faith effort to stop political violence must hold both parties to the same standard and expectation. So in that spirit, will you condemn the violent rhetoric of Donald Trump, the most powerful and influential person on earth?
I appreciate your question. You know my heart. Why would I ever say, yes, go murder people? This is so much deeper than just one. I understand your sentiment. I do. But this is also so much deeper than just one person. This starts at the home, okay? This starts with family. This starts with a seed that grows and grows. You can choose to have evil in your heart, or you can choose to have light. What you consume and what you absorb from the outside world will manifest itself. No, I will never agree with political violence. My husband is a victim of it. I'm a victim of it. But what I'm trying to say here is that we can blame everyone else. We have to look in the mirror. When you become a father, when you become a mother, how are you raising your kids? Are you taking responsibility, or are you giving them a device and saying, go down that rabbit hole? I'm trying to go to Pilates class. You can just sit in the corner and look at your iPad or look at your phone and go down that rabbit hole and see what you can learn from that instead of being a parent. So my call to action from that is, parents, step up. Do you want your kid to be a thought leader or an assassin? That's where we're at.
Do you think our political leaders have a responsibility to turn the temperature down right now?
Well, I think everyone has a responsibility to do that, and I'm doing my part. I'm not in control of other people.
I almost can't even watch this. I mean, it's just so incredibly distasteful for Bari Weiss to be like, I know, let's get the guy who asked Charlie the question to challenge her on this. Like, it's so clear. I mean, you talk about like exploitation. I mean, it is just absolutely shameless.
The whole thing was a shameless series of disgraceful stunts. However, part of what makes it less cringe in the way that it might is I haven't seen anything from this where I didn't feel Erika Kirk was complicit in this, that they weren't both using each other. In fact, Michael Tracy, this town hall was so bad, Michael Tracy has the first good take here he's had in like a year. Everyone got mad at the Charlie Kirk, George Floyd comparisons, but another striking similarity is the endless mandatory national conversation led by activist grievers who just happen to be extremely crafty at soliciting donations for God knows what. Boom. Boom. That was a very good take from Mr. Tracy there. Yeah, they're both grifters. It's two grifters grifting on the same stage. Yeah, what Bari Weiss did was disgraceful, but you never see Erika Kirk react as if it's disgraceful. She reacts like they discussed this series of stunts, and they both wanted to have these very big TV moments that would go viral, both for their own ends. I think they were both complicit in the nature of this town hall. And in the end, they both work for the same people. Whatever the reason for that is, we'll get into that more in the second half. Yeah, man. One of the tweets we featured mentions, they got that Ellison money coming in. You got all these Zionists now have essentially taken over TPUSA. Bari Weiss is certainly working for Israel, absolutely before working for Ellison. That's why Ellison gave her this job. They both have the same boss, and they're both doing the same job, shutting down honest conversation about how absolutely fucking absurd the official narrative is about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and trying to tie right-wing conservatism to fanatical Zionism. And given some of these speculations around what happened to Charlie Kirk, there's a lot of overlap between those two objectives. So they're both doing the job. They're both working for the same people. And I never saw a reaction from Erika Kirk that suggests she didn't know all that was coming and sign off on it.
Do we know that, or are you just saying it seemed that way? I mean,
it definitely seemed that way. Let me just finish, and then we'll get to the thing. All right. So how did that work out for CBS? Big advertisers appear wary of CBS News's Bari Weiss town hall format. Wonder why that would be. The news special aired at 8 p.m. on Saturday, one of the least watched hours in broadcast TV, and that may have contributed to a relative dearth of top advertisers appearing to support the show. During the hour, commercial breaks were largely filled with spots from direct response advertisers, including the dietary supplement Super Beats, the home repair service homeserve.com, and Carfax, a supplier of auto ownership data. Viewers of the telecast on WCBS, CBS's flagship station in New York, even saw a commercial for Chia Pet, the terracotta figure that sprouts plant life after a few weeks. Dude, I have not seen a Chia Pet commercial like since I was a kid.
Yeah.
They still have that jingle, Chia.
I guess so.
They still do that.
I mean, how can you sell one of those without the jingle?
Exactly. Direct response advertisers typically pay lower prices in exchange for allowing TV networks to put their commercials on air when convenience allows. A flurry of the ads appearing in one program usually offers a signal that the network could not line up more mainstream support for the content it chose to air. Okay, so yeah. So that's it. That was my read. I mean, it seemed like two people using each other for their own objectives and for overlapping objectives. It seems to me that if you sprung on somebody, the guy who asked your deceased husband, your assassinated husband, the last question he ever answered, you might have something more of a reaction than she had. Of course, I can't know that, but that's how it reads to me.
Yeah, I mean, I can't read into that as much. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Was she supposed to say, "How dare you, how dare you sandbag me with this"? I know they pre-screen the questions.
Physicality.
I don't know if I believe they pre-screen the questions, didn't they? I thought I saw something like that. Obviously, they knew they were calling on that guy. They flew him out, right? He was the guy who asked the question, right? So,
I don't think. I mean, just in terms of the basic burning bridges, like I don't think Bari Weiss would have done that without telling her she was going to do it, and her reaction didn't read like she didn't know that was coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's fair. It's I don't know for sure, but yeah, I mean, look, obviously, the whole construct of this was to look. This is all to build momentum for the Turning Point Fest, right? The AmFest,
AmFest, yeah.
When is the AmFest happening? It's this week, right?
It's like right after the big. I don't know if the Candace the answering the Candace questions is still happening, given that they're having this summit. I don't know about that, but yeah, the AmFest is like after.
They timed that for AmFest. It seems like a big run up to that, right? I mean, that seems like what it was, but yeah, I mean, it's just to me. I mean, that is just, I had not seen any of those clips. I knew they were out there. I saw the screenshots of them and the summaries of them. But yeah, man, I mean, it's so shameless for Bari Weiss to appear on camera for that. Like you said, it's weird for the editor-in-chief to even appear on camera anyway.
Right.
You're talking about how you're bringing, centrism and credibility back to this old news institution. And then you do a thing like that. It's so embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. But, that just shows you how in the bubble she is. I mean, and that's how in the bubble all of these hardcore Zionists are. They're not used to hearing anything other than what they want to hear.
Yeah. And when you look at the feedback this got, I mean, I haven't seen any positive perspective on this at all. It's just clearly there is no audience for a free press version of CBS. There was no audience for the free press. There still is not. We again and again, we have shown it. Other people have shown it. Their view counts are shit. We do better than the free press. Who are we? Who know these people are famous and they can't get people to read their shit or watch their videos. What did you think was going to happen? It's not like that was a successful model. The free press was financially successful in the sense that it was peddling narratives that oligarchs want out there. So they were able to get funding from people like Mark Andreessen to keep it going. It wasn't successful in terms of people wanting to consume it. So now she's turning CBS into the free press. This is like the free press with more money. This is the kind of thing the free press would do. And people didn't want it when it was the free press. They're certainly not going to want it with CBS. All you're doing with this is losing the libs who watched CBS.
Right. Exactly. All right. Let's move on to what we got. We got El Casador says Candace versus Erika, Dawn of the Felch. Thank you. Louise Brooks says news is saying 78 and 68-year-old woman dead at Reiner House matches his and his wife's age. I am so done with this year. Yeah, it doesn't seem good, but they have not confirmed that. I saw that. Thank you, Louise. Snork says, will Bari Weiss become new PR person for Campbell's Soup after being fired for CBS? Thanks, Snork. Monkey Rotary, LMAO. I love Russ's hate for Taibbi. Get him, Russ. Viandicus Prime. It puts the lime into coconut or else it gets the hose again. You're welcome for that mashup that will never leave your mind. Ha ha, good one, Viandicus Prime. Appreciate that. All right. You want to do some super chats?
All right. Rich, Great White Hope Speaks. Which one's that? Beto? I always think of Beto that way.
Yeah.
Charles Gracia. Here's $5 so you can keep the lights on. I'll go back to my seat now. Thank you, Charles. Thank you. Todd for Florida 4. How can she sit there and lecture regular Americans when she thinks regular people are losing time with their kids for fucking Pilates? Out of touch much? Why? Who said that?
I think Erika Kirk said people should spend more time with their kids and less time at Pilates or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Pilates. That's what most Americans are doing. The auspicious one. Did you hear that she's meeting with Candace in person tomorrow? Yes.
Yes, we did.
Caught that breaking news. A lot of breaking news.
Did you put
today.
that in your slideshow, or do you need that?
I did.
Screen share. Okay.
No, I put it in. All right. TV Village Idiot. I like that. Clever. Nowadays, you're either a conspiracy theorist, a gullible idiot, or a lying hypocrite. Pick one. Well, why choose? We picked all three and made a show out of it.
That's right.
Okay. All right. We want to move along. Did you do, you want to do Rumble Rants?
I did.
Oh, okay. So, it is a big topic of conversation now. We kind of stayed off round one of speculation about what's going on with Erika Kirk, but it seems like a fair thing to interrogate at this point. The first thing that really made people go, was probably this. Genghis Khan here says, there is not a single married woman on X today that would watch her husband's throat get blown out, then days later tell someone with a phone to please get a video of her sobbing over an open casket. This is badly acted Hollywood nonsense, and I'm tired of you pretending it isn't. Okay, so I think a lot of people said when this happened, even me, I was like, well, you don't know, man. If somebody's kind of having a nervous breakdown, like you can't really account for what they do, and you might still say that, but you be the judge.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I know. I love you. I love you. God bless you.
So that was something that definitely made a lot of people go, But then again, yeah, like you don't know what impact something like that has on you psychologically. Maybe that makes sense to you at the time. And then, of course, there's this. Erika Kirk hosted a $10,000 a plate black tie gala at Mar-a-Lago this past weekend, like every grieving widow. So this stuff, before she went out on the tour, this stuff was kind of there in the background. I don't know. Candace says they've raised $140 million since Charlie's death. Once the book tour started, that's when a lot of people, I think, who had been holding back on really discussing this started to feel, well, I mean, if you're going to go out on tour, fair game. So this video, I think, made a lot of those voices grow much louder.
Those little things where, again, he would walk through the door, drop his bags, daddy's home, take his phone Friday night, Shabbat Shalom, throw it in the junk drawer, and it was just all us. And that's what I always wanted to make so special for him, was coming home. I'd always say, baby, I don't care what time you get home. Home is here for you. Your food will never be cold. It might sit out for a little bit, but I'll reheat it. It's fine. And I just want to encourage spouses, don't get mad. It's so easy. Don't do it. My Charlie.
Yeah. You know, I it's a little hard to believe that Charlie, a Christian, came home and said Shabbat Shalom on the Sabbath. Seems a little overdone. Here's Stu Peters. Erika Kirk starts speaking in Hebrew to prove that she's a good and loyal Zionist soldier. Yeah, it kind of plays that way. This diligent denizen. As I predicted, they are wheeling out Erika Kirk pre-staging as PR emotional defense against scrutiny or skepticism of the narrative around Charlie Kirk's assassination. This staging is for the TPUSA Candace Owens debunking event scheduled on December 15th, right before AmFest, and coincidentally on Keaton Weiss's birthday, where they insisted Candace go in person to attend. This is bait, Candace, to lure you into going after Erika Kirk and give them the moral high ground. She's attacking a grieving widow BS. Now, as we now know, they are having a private meeting tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. But this was Erika Kirk's appearance on Fox the next day after the Shabbat Shalom appearance.
So family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
The podcaster.
Okay. And this video was an early one that they dropped to promote the town hall. It's from Shadow of Ezra. Erika Kirk is now publicly telling Candace Owens to stop questioning Charlie Kirk's assassination. Erika Kirk and Turning Point USA have concluded that Tyler Robinson was the one responsible for her husband's death.
Candace Owens, okay? At one time, a friend of Charlie's, at one time, an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now.
Okay, and let's just point out, Bari Weiss is not in any way acting as a reporter here. You could ask the question, well, some people don't believe this.
Right.
What do you say to that? She states as a fact
That they're
that
lying.
Candace Owens is lying.
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
Okay. Okay. Academic agent. At one point, am I allowed to openly dislike Erika Kirk without you lot saying respect a grieving widow? Like, what's the level of time on which that cloak of protection expires? So you are getting a lot of that kind of feedback, and whatever you think, certainly this book tour seems to have backfired spectacularly if the intention was to get control of the narrative. Because if anything, it opened the floodgates and made Erika Kirk, in the eyes of a lot of people, fair game in a way that she was not before that. So this is a woman who goes to the same church that Erika Kirk goes to. And this is her description of what goes on during services.
In real life at church since Charlie died, and I will tell you that the performance in real life is as bad as it is on TV. I'm talking reserved front row pew, bringing her whole entourage, not her children, showing up late, dabbing her eyes when she walks back from communion because it's the one time that the whole church can see her because she's in the front row. And before you jump down my throat and say, oh, it's security purposes. No, it's not, because this church has a side section that is closer to the exit that she comes in and out of, and where only probably about 5% of the church would actually be able to see her if that's where she was sitting. But no, front row seat, the whole circus. I'm not sure whose idea it was for her to go on this media tour. All it has done is confirm for those of us who were holding on with a smidgen bit of benefit of the doubt that this woman was genuine. Out the window. We cannot unsee what we've seen. The conservative leaders who are out there defending her have all capitalized on Charlie's death. They've all acted like he was their friend, and they have all turned his death, his public execution, which thousands of us saw, into their own moment to push their brand, to push their podcast, to push their social medias. And then those people who aren't famous, who are still defending Erika. What Erika did the other day on whatever freaking show she was on, to call it a sickness of the mind. That is exactly how control-based groups, cults, fundamentalist religions gaslight and undermine anyone who dares question the authority, dares question the narrative being shoved down our throats. It's to undermine our sanity, to undermine our minds, to undermine the state of our souls and our relationships with Jesus. Some of us identify it and recognize it as the tactic it is, and it's disgusting. We need God because we need the truth.
Yeah, and again, this is part of the problem they're having, because you're not talking about some lib here who's going after Erika Kirk. This is backfiring in terms of getting their own people on board, because yeah, they're being gaslit, whatever you think the reason for that is. There's absolutely no way all of these people think, yeah, no, Charlie's magic neck bone stopped a bullet. So at that point, you have to ask about motives, because the idea that they actually believe what they're saying is absurd. There's one poster putting her out there is a huge miscalculation. Erika Kirk comes off as a fraud. This isn't helping, and she's right. This particular clip really went viral as an example of how off-putting a lot of these appearances have been.
But we serve a just God, and I rest easy in knowing that He's sovereign, but He's just. And so let the Lord handle that.
Okay. Many parodies have been made of this. This is one of them.
Just God, and I rest easy in knowing that He's sovereign, but He's just. And so let the Lord handle that.
Lord, I'm Sam! Sam, this is some scary shit! Oh, I am scared!
All right, so this actress is blessed with actually bearing a certain resemblance to Erika Kirk. A lot of her videos on this have been going viral.
Thank you, 5. Can I have a moment
just by myself so that I can.
Oh no, yeah,
of course.
Let's go for some space. Understand? You're good. We'll be out here. You're good.
Thank you.
You okay?
I'm okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It's game time. You've got this. You've got the grief. You've got righteous anger. And God will take care of all of those who oppose you. And it's for the kids. It's for Charlie. And it's for the ability to be able to grieve in private. We want privacy. And some people grieve differently. Some go on book tours and some stay home. But Charlie wanted me to earn the trust of the people after he was gone. He told me. And everything that he said about that black pilot, well, that was out of context. People just don't know how brilliant he was. He didn't care. He wanted everybody to earn their keep, just as he wants you to earn the money. So that you can buy his last book. And we're all grieving. But everyone who's asking questions needs to stop. Okay, that felt good. All right, I think I'm good. Oof. God, this mascara's good. All right, Erika, let's sell some books.
All right. Now, on a more serious note, and you played this in your segment, she claims that she has Charlie's phone, which raises the question, why would Kash Patel allow her to keep the phone?
He was not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered. They're coming after me. Someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that. And I have his cell phone.
Social media is.
Whoops. So why would she have his cell phone? How could you
I'm
end
sorry,
up
I'm just going to have to say it.
with his cell phone? So before we get to James Lee, this has also been going around. This is from Adam. A photo has emerged of Erika Kirk with Benjamin Netanyahu's son, Yair Netanyahu, in 2019 in Israel. From what I've read, that's before she met Charlie. Now she's talking Hebrew on daytime TV, attacking Candace Owens and defending TPUSA, who have been caught lying. She's in on it. She was Charlie's handler. Now, this is, of course, what a lot of people have been speculating from the beginning. Certainly, there's not enough evidence to say that. There is enough to say that Zionist donors have largely taken over TPUSA in the wake of Charlie's death, and that probably has a lot to do with this concerted effort to shut down this conversation. There's the Jeff Epstein parody account. Erika Kirk is close with Netanyahu's son, so why is Netanyahu's son suddenly launching a podcast that mirrors the Charlie Kirk show? They were close in 2019 before Erika met Charlie. Is this the network Erika Kirk is defending? I think that's a fair question.
It
So,
says on Instagram she met him in 2018, actually.
Earlier than that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this is James Lee kind of putting the pieces together.
This right here, what's going on, this is what we call a psychological operation.
He would walk through the door, drop his bags, Daddy's home, take his phone, Friday night, Shabbat Shalom.
Is she a rapper now? What was that little rhyme there? Daddy's home, throws the foam, Shabbat Shalom. I asked Grok, do Christians say Shabbat Shalom? And the response was no, Christians typically do not say Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom is a traditional Hebrew greeting used by Jews on the Sabbath, Friday evening through Saturday evening. It literally means Sabbath peace or peaceful Sabbath and is specific to Jewish observance of Sabbath. At this point, I am fully convinced this is a psyop, right? Now that Charlie Kirk is no longer around to speak for himself, the new CEO of TPUSA, Erika Kirk, is using this moment to basically push Israel down our throats.
We have over 1,000. We have around 1,070 major handpicked evangelical pastors. We have over 200 connected to Donald Trump in the White House. These are the media people. These are the social media people. They influence tens of millions of people. And this is the first time in Israel's history it's ever happened. By the way, they're not coming on a tour. They're coming to become official ambassadors for the state of Israel.
Israeli ambassadors. Did he just say the quiet part out loud? And also, there are whistleblowers out there right now claiming, allegedly, that Turning Point USA itself has been compromised by foreign governments. Are we not allowed to ask any questions that one of the largest political organizations in the United States might be compromised by a foreign government?
Come after me, call me names, I don't care. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
No, your family is your family. The people who work at TPUSA, who work for you at TPUSA, they are your colleagues. So we should have the right to ask questions. We should have the right to investigate your organization's ties to potentially shadowy figures or funding. And yes, we should have the right to question if the organization that you lead is potentially colluding with a certain foreign government.
Yes, clearly. Now, finally, this was just breaking since we've been on the air. Candace Owens, this is from Erika Kirk. Candace Owens and I are meeting for a private in-person discussion on Monday, December 15th. Candace and I have agreed the public discussions, live streams, and tweets are on hold until after this meeting. I look forward to a productive conversation. Thank you for your attention to this matter. No, she just said thank you. Okay. So that's a lot of the conversation that is happening. Now, of course, it is impossible for us to know what Erika Kirk's motivations are. It is kind of beside the point, I think, as James Lee points out there, and I don't think this is controvertible. TPUSA, whatever it was or whatever it ever purported to be, whatever it may or may not have been in Charlie's lifetime, clearly has been subverted by a Zionist core of donors. Erika Kirk has been deployed as part of a PSYOP to shut down questions about this assassination. We can't know why she's doing that. She obviously comes off as very insincere and artificial. That could be a result of doing something under pressure or under threat or under fear, or it could be because you're greedy or you're a psychopath. It reads that way to a lot of people. She has read that way to me, certainly, for a while. That's how I read her. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm not in a, psychiatrist's office with her, diagnosing her. She strikes me as being kind of off, and obviously strikes a lot of other people that way too, hence these kinds of parodies and analysis. But in terms of how it impacts us, how it is important to us generally as a society, is, yeah, I think James' point, fitting it in with what they've just done with bringing the 1,000 pastors to Israel. That's very good connecting of the dots. This all seems like an overall push to get the narrative back. Now, it's not going to work, just like Bari Weiss's stewardship of CBS is destroying the crumbling edifice of what's left of it. What's happening with TPUSA is basically turning it into another astroturfed institution, whereas it had once been an authentic institution that people really supported, what you're going to wind up with is a hollowed out shell supported by Zionist money. But it's going to lose real membership and real support from real people.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've always been hesitant, and I remain hesitant to engage in like scrutiny of her behavior, because I don't think any of us know how we would behave under these circumstances. Don't forget, you have to appear in public. If you're appearing in public under these circumstances, there is an element of performance to that. There just is, right? To go on camera and be your true self. Well, what does that mean? There's a lot riding on you going up there. You want to project strength. You feel probably an imperative to carry the torch in terms of, continue on in the footsteps of your husband and execute his mission. At the same time, you don't want to look like a craven grifter who's out there peddling a book. So maybe you do feel a need to, be a little dramatic. Like to me, the psychoanalyzing is pointless. I never thought that was fruitful. To me, the two things that stand out both in this montage and in the stuff that we did, when she tells Candace Owens and anybody who is questioning things to stop, and when she says that Charlie never received these threatening text messages that Candace Owens alleges that she had. Those are two things that go beyond just, okay, your behavior does not conform to what my preconceived notion of a grieving widow ought to look like. There's no such thing as a generic avatar of a grieving widow who's going to conform to everybody's image in their mind of a grieving widow. That's always going to be wrong, because what's in your mind is not real, right? People are real. But when she says stop, if you're asking questions about that, stop. That's going beyond behavior. She's issuing a command that we stop asking questions about a cataclysmic event that's being, by the way, used by the government as a pretext to violate our constitutional rights. So
exactly.
In my opinion, the appropriate response to that is, no, I'm sorry, with all due respect to your situation and your grief and your loss, we have a right to say what we want. This is America. We have a First Amendment. And that includes a right to question the government. We have an obligation to question the government when the government is trying, especially to take away our right to question the government. That is the time, if any, that you have kind of a duty to exercise that First Amendment right. So that cuts through the noise of how she's behaving. Does it come off as authentic or inauthentic? Those questions never interested me. They still don't, to be honest. And then obviously the statement that he never received these text messages, that Candace Owens says that Andrew Colvett told her he received. Okay, well, at that point, somebody's not telling the truth. At that point, we also have an obligation to interrogate that. Right. And when you put yourself out there making those kinds of statements, you become a topic of conversation.
Sure,
and,
of course.
And being a public figure, as much as I choose not to engage in the speculation about the way she carries herself, or even the thing with the casket in the hands, I don't go there. If you're going to go on a book tour and you're going to promote yourself as the leader of this movement, well, now you're making yourself fodder for
your fair
public
game
consumption, right? Like, people are now going to have those opinions about you. I personally don't find the behavioral examination to be particularly important. I also don't think she's literally saying he comes home and screams Shabbat Shalom. His friends all said they couldn't reach him on the weekends because he honored the Sabbath and all that.
No, she literally said he said Shabbat Shalom.
But does that mean she's declaring it? He comes home Shabbat Shalom.
She literally said that.
I don't believe that.
She literally said he comes home and says Shabbat Shalom. Now you want to say that?
No, she didn't. She said he comes home Shabbat Shalom, meaning I'm yours for the weekend. She didn't say he literally said it. I mean, whatever. Like, well, who cares? Who cares? He didn't say he came home every day and he would announce when he walked through the door. She's doing a shtick. She's doing a shtick.
Okay, well, even on the other side,
yeah.
I mean, the way I read that is she got a little too into character for the people who are pulling her strings. She got a little too in character. She got a little over enthusiastic. You want to look at it the other way, and she's saying on her own behalf, Shabbat Shalom. I mean, that's just as insincere. Yeah, no, Erika Kirk is, she's a devout. She says Shabbat Shalom in her personal life. Either way, that you interpret it.
Perhaps, but the overall, like, people have like, she's not lying about the fact that he took the weekends off. Obviously, that's what everybody said about him, that you couldn't reach him at that time. If I come home, he comes home every week. Daddy's home. What's for dinner? Does that mean I literally come home every day and say, "Daddy's home. What's for dinner"?
Mm-hmm.
Does that, like, are you gonna
hold
me to that?
That's exactly the same as somebody who's part of an organization that people speculate Zionist donors may have had something to do with her husband's death, invoking a religious phrase that she certainly doesn't use in real life. It's the same as he dropped his bags. It's exactly the same as saying Shabbat Shalom.
I'm just saying I don't take that literally, and I don't see it as necessarily fruitful. Like, I don't see that as a major, oh my God, what's going on there? What's going on there? What we know is that he took the weekends off, and she described him taking the weekends off and making himself available to the family on the weekends. That's what she is communicating
he wore a
there.
kippah too, probably.
That's what she's communicating there.
Yeah, payas.
And that's what she is communicating there. And that seems to check out. Like, I don't see that to be worth prodding all that much. That just seems excessive. But as for the other stuff, yeah, I mean, obviously, and this is obviously a run-up to this big event. And obviously, they are using this event as, the final chance to corral people behind a narrative.
Yep, and it seems to be multi-pronged.
Yeah.
Like, it's the CBS thing, it's the TPUSA thing, it's the pastors thing, it's the TikTok thing. It's all part of an overall effort to shut down speech and to try to drum up support for both Zionism and censorship.
Right. Sure. I think that's pretty obvious. And I think it is also just really telling that people went out of their way to suggest that people took the first shot at Erika Kirk when it's the opposite. It's the opposite. Yeah. Turning Point USA injected her into the conversation. Right?
Of course. I mean, that's why you could see the floodgates open as soon as she went on that tour, and a lot of people stayed off of that for obvious reasons, but you can't tell them to stay off of that if you're going to not only make yourself a public figure, but you're going to insist that this absurd narrative by the FBI is the narrative, and you're horrible if you question that narrative.
Sure, of course. All right, let's take some Rumble rants and some super chats here. El Casador says, Erika looks like a female Dexter playing the part while trying to suppress the dark passenger. Man, either she is an op or under duress trying to navigate through a tough situation. Yeah. Goo. Erika Kirk even had a recent photo with Yair Netanyahu, Bibi's son, who's hiding out in Miami. Yeah, we put that in the segment. You got to watch Adam Berger and YouTube shorts regarding Erika Kirk interview regarding her eyes and bad acting. So you say that. Professor Brown, note, the Zios are just circumcising your right to free speech. Thank you, Professor Brown. No, appreciate that. Go ahead.
Kuznetsky Bassane, super sticker. Thank you, man. Thank you. John, 2017. I recently bought an Oscar the Grouch Geopet. Ended up looking more like E.T. hiding in the bushes. LOL. Love from Florida. I wanted one of those so bad when I was a little kid. My mom never got me one. Muzal Ghanim, 1294.
Thank you, Muzal Ghanim. Appreciate that.
Please clap. You guys are epic. Your pal from Kuwait. Thank you. Thank you, man. Weedy Gonzalez. Y'all in chat keep me sane and entertained. Good work. Thank you, ma'am. Skyman, my take. TPUSA is laundering money as a political organization for foreign and domestic power players. Mr. Kirk either got too close or too cold, and his investors wanted a return on their investment. Yeah, I mean, that's the neighborhood that a lot of people are thinking in.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's everybody's worst fear, is that there was a lot of money on the line and that he was starting to clash with the kinds of people who would be inclined to write those checks.
Exactly. Brad Gilbert, Seinfeld equals man hands. Erika equals mannequin hands. IYKYK. What does that mean? Do you know?
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Thank you. Brad Gilbert, FYI, the statute of limitation expires when the widow DGAF about catching the real murderer, even when her hubby faked it, likely to escape his cra-cra. Yeah, he was on an island with Jim Morrison, Jeff Epstein, Elvis. Christopher Back, 2103. Can't stand TPUSA, but blindly defending Candace is a mistake. Nobody has made more money as a result of his death. Not everything is a conspiracy. Yeah, I don't think she's in it for the money, man.
We also have not blindly defended Candace either.
Yeah, you could question what she's saying. Yeah. I don't think it's the money, man. At her level of the game, there are a lot of ways to make money with a lot less risk that you're going to have an accident.
Look, I've said every time we've covered this, there's a possibility she's not telling the truth. That's just not what my gut tells me. It's just like my gut does not tell me that. My gut says she would not risk that kind of reputational damage if she was just pulling this out of her ass. I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
Sparky, seems Erika is so accustomed to taking directions her whole life that she isn't in the habit of having thoughts of her own. Director tells her what she's supposed to say and feel, then roll cameras. Yeah, I mean, she definitely has been given talking points. I think we can safely say that. Over the top. Keaton, wake the F up. She is weaned on Zionism and surrounded by zillions of beanie bucks. This lady is a programmed robot. Don't be a weenie.
Yeah, thank you. No, I mean, look, I'll just say once again.
You want to respond?
Yeah, once again. I mean, I'll just say what I said before. It's nothing all that interesting. His friends all said he took the weekends off. So Friday night he comes home, Shabbat Shalom, I'm yours for the weekend. Is that a premeditated lie where she's saying she means I'm going to go out and say he comes home and
no, I don't think it was premeditated.
He recites a Jewish prayer.
I think she was improvising and she went too far.
Maybe she was overzealous in a way that kind of oversold his devotion to the Sabbath,
which
as a
tells
Jewish
you
practice.
who she's serving.
Yeah, perhaps, but I don't take it as a lie. Like I don't take it as, oh, you're a liar. He didn't say that. The general truth of the matter is he did take the weekend. That's what the book was about. Like he did do that every Friday into Saturday. So to me, that's what that communicates.
I take it as a good example of how craven her entire performance has been. Whether it's that she literally meant he said Shabbat Shalom or she was going over the top to please her handlers. Either way, it's craven. It's a very craven thing to claim.
I mean, he wrote the book.
Shabbat Shalom. Did I do a good job? Guys? Erika Maines, Bondi versus Kirk, victimhood and grievance dance-off. Go.
Yeah, exactly.
Now that would be quite a performance. All right, that's everything.
All right, well, that is our show. We got a long show tonight because we do have one more segment that we got to do over on Rumble. So if you want to come over there for it, it's dudissidents.com/Rumble. We got one more segment on the night, and then we will be taking your calls. It's not a long segment. We should get to calls by about 20 after, so we're running a little bit behind tonight, but not too bad. dudissidents.com/Rumble. Head on over. If you are not heading over to Rumble, we will see you back here Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Until then, thanks to Jake in the booth. Thanks to the mods for keeping the peace in the chat. Appreciate you all very much. Like I said, we will have a 5-minute intermission, followed by one more segment and your calls. Thanks, everybody, very much for staying up with us tonight. Appreciate you all, as always. Until we see you again, be safe and be well.
Courage!
Please clap.